Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 159. My son has had a revelation that he needs more funny t-shirts.
Well, yeah, they got a magic meat shirt for Menard and Butcher, and it's awesome. It's literally a picture like a meat from like though you'd have it there. It's just got like magic now. It's awesome.
And since you work in a grocery store, it would be perfect.
Should wear that.
And you noticed it had the French and English because
they're Canadian.
Canadian boys.
Canadian boys.
But anyways, welcome back to the podcast where we're going to eventually talk about a bunch of wrestling, and we're going to sneak in a couple extra features this week, I guess. You watched a little bit of Great American Bash.
I watched the only match I cared about and accidentally watched the opener.
I watched all of it. So we'll talk about that quickly after the news, and then we'll, somewhere near the end, we'll preview tomorrow, Sundays, when Summerslam.
Tomorrow, I think.
Saturday this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're recording late on a Friday night again. So
yeah.
Anyways, we will
when we're airing, it'll be tonight, SummerSlam.
We'll preview and make predictions on that as well. And then our usual stuff. So AEW in depth, a little bit of NXT Impact, maybe main roster stuff. I don't know.
I have one.
Well, so a little bit of main roster
Just
talk.
waiting for see if SmackDown does something cool. Probably not.
And then whatever else comes up. So I don't know. In our banter here, what did we do this week? We had a big family dinner on Sunday because that would have been after. So we had like, I don't know, a dozen of the Korean side of the family, right, was pretty much all here, all the people we like. So that was cool.
I'm trying to think how many people that would be.
There was 11 plus us, so 15 altogether.
I
did the math so we could order food.
Okay.
We did those.
That would make sense. I was going to do the math, so that's good that you did that.
And then we met some of those same family the next day at Canada's Wonderland again. A lot of the banter is us going, went to Canada's Wonderland again.
Oh, we gotta go again with the other people.
Because this time we went with two little kids, but we still found time to get away and do what we wanted to do. So it was fun. And those are two really, really good little kids. So it wasn't painful at all. They're good kids. Mm-hmm. Low maintenance. So that was our excitement. And then you've been working. You picked up a couple shifts, seems like, because you said one guy is done working there and they haven't replaced him.
No, they have not.
I wouldn't say like you're working too much though.
No.
So that's good if you're.
I got the weekend off without booking it off, so
right.
That's fine.
And sometimes if and you're looking to save some money or get some money, so.
Fan Expo, baby.
Yeah, Fan Expo in a couple weeks where you're gonna spend too much money probably on things.
Hey, I'm
that
packing.
Are strange, but that you like.
I'm packing. Okay, I'm ready.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm just starting.
Yes, I'm sure.
I'm gonna save so much. But we might actually. I said it to you, but I don't think we mentioned it yet. That might be our first skip.
Oh, of doing the podcast on time?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I might try and.
I guess you could, yeah.
Or even just really put something out on the Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So if we do something extra or whatever, we should plan something.
NXT.
Get back to. We still have to do that. That would be a good time actually to put that out instead.
That should be our goal, because since we're lazy, particularly me.
Yeah, thank you, because I'm constantly suggesting, hey, we could record.
That's the goal. At the very least, we should get it like as our supplement.
Exactly.
For that, okay.
Because we can do it any time and put it out on that Saturday and then just resume.
Okay, that's the goal then.
Okay.
That makes sense.
It'll be a special episode for everybody. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to discuss before? Because I feel like this is going to be a lengthy episode this week.
I got my shirts.
You did? Oh, you did. That's right.
Today.
Oh, I didn't see all of them. And how are they? Good? Your birthday shirts?
This one's good, yeah.
Not far from your birthday.
I got the Cole MJF shirt. A week and a day.
Better than you, baby. You're rocking right now.
Mm-hmm. And then once it's cooler, I'll start being a poor.
Being with your hoodie that you're excited
we got
to wear.
that. I got an MJF hoodie, the gray one, and says I'm a poor.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Especially because people will have no idea.
No, that's my favorite part.
And those are my favorite wrestling garments because then, like, if somebody acknowledges you, it's not even like they're a casual fan. Because if somebody gets that reference, right, they're a wrestling fan.
Well, yeah, I was telling you, we were just talking about before we went on that. I was looking at Shop AEW. I just like the shirts that like would confuse people. Like, there's the one shirt that they put out where they just slapped a picture in black and white of Uno slapping Hangman.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be funny to just walk around with the shirt of a guy getting slapped.
Yep.
Or the Magic Meat one makes me laugh, or like, I don't know. There's other ones that are funny, but just like, I like the ones that would make people
out of context are completely.
So I remember one time, I think you noticed, I think I got a weird look for when I had the Adam Cole Bebe.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but that's not even a weird one. I would like to just like walk around in like a weird one.
You would.
He's our scumbag is a pretty good one.
He is. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
That's I'm a poor vibes.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, that'd be cool. There's the one with a lanyard printed on. You could get a QTV press pass. Shirt.
They made a shirt out of that. They must have printed like 10.
You wanna
his family, his close family and friends.
Yeah, it's like Coughlin did the one promo for New Japan, but not being able to get his family shirt. QT.
I hear
probably
Coughlin had a big upset in G1. I think he beat Tanahashi.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, Tanahashi's old, so.
And he probably should. Kind of cool, man. He is crazy strong, that's for sure.
I'm hearing good things
about
him.
Spots.
I heard good things about him and Gabe Kidd. They had good promos.
So I haven't seen any Gabe Kidd. I've sort of been in and out of G1, and I haven't seen any.
I haven't seen any of the new Bullet Club yet. I'm hearing like mixed things. Some people don't like it because I think from like a similar standpoint of mine is that like the lineup's kind of like it's low on star power. It's just like it's not. I think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just like I feel like there should be like the leader's David Finlay. No disrespect to him, but I feel like if you're gonna have some new guys like Coughlin and Gabe Kidd and who's it, Clark Connors and Maloney, like I feel like you should have like if it's Jay White leading them, different. You know what I mean? Like
they don't. Nobody's super established. Like they're trying to establish Finlay, or he is, I guess.
Right, but I feel like for the faction work, and I think they're I'm gonna assume they're probably doing a good job. And I can't like again, we don't really watch New Japan.
No,
but just from my view on it, you need someone established like Jay White, right, or AJ Styles or Omega, Cody, etc. I think Devitt is different because that was the start of Bullet Club, so that I feel like that's a little different. I don't know how established Devitt was. I know he was junior, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was
established,
but he wasn't like
not
to the level of Omega. But no, he was a big deal though.
But I feel like Finley's like not established enough to be leading it yet.
He's more established for sure, but I don't know if he's at that. You know he's not at that level.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's something about it feels weird to me, but I've heard good things about Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, and
it's not the best
mixed things
iteration of that group for sure.
No, definitely not. I thought
it's lingering.
Jay
a long
White's
time.
was decent but it was weird because he had some Impact guys too.
Yeah,
he had Austin and Bay.
That's right. Yeah. Who are now sort of are they even doing that?
No
gimmick anymore?
I don't think so.
I can't remember. I think they're kind of distancing themselves from it.
Yeah, and then White's still kicking around with Juice, who is in his, and then
in their Bullet Club Gold, so that's a different thing. But anyways,
I like Bullet Club Gold more because you got the established guy, and then you can establish the guns.
Right, yeah,
and that's how you do that. Now,
nice. That group is working for me. So
yeah,
okay.
I just hate that they're on Collision only.
Let's get talking about some actual wrestling, even though the banter turned into wrestling talk too. First thing we'll do, take a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, quickly taking a look at the ratings as we tend to do in this spot. NXT averaged 717,000 viewers, which is up a tiny bit, 2%, earned a 0.23 in the key demographic, which is the same as last week. Fourth straight week that the show has averaged a 2.0 or higher. 2.0, sorry, 0.20. 2.0 would be like amazing.
Also, the NXT I don't like.
Correct. There's a remind. Maybe that's how I slipped into that. So that hasn't happened this fourth straight week of a 0.2 or higher since April and May of 2021. So again, good numbers for NXT since they seem to have adopted more of a main roster, could be showing up sort of thing, or are showing up, to be honest.
They're going a little heavy on it.
They are. There's quite a few coming and going because we got Escobar this week, right? Not to spoil anything.
I get
he got a good reaction.
Yeah, I get what they're doing. I don't know. They should kind of chill on that.
Yeah, it's a lot. But the more of them there are, the fewer of the ones you don't want to see that are super green, I think.
I guess, yeah.
Is what's working. Collision, 739,000 viewers, up 19.6%, and a 0.27 in the key demo, up 50%. So I like that because that's not a Punk number, right? That was headlined by FTR and MJF. And Adam Cole, and that
he had a spray paint segment though.
It was true. It was the highest audience total since the premiere episode, so that's a good number for them. We still haven't watched that match, but we plan on it. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, that's the thing I meant to watch.
There's so much wrestling now, man. It's crazy.
It's killing me.
It's a lot.
Plus, I have to watch Omega Ospreay once. I still haven't done that. I have to watch.
Falling behind.
I have to watch that. I need my monthly watch, and I do it at least once. If I do it twice, that's okay.
Yep. Wednesday's Dynamite, 894,000 viewers, down 0.5%. So basically the same, and a 0.31. So that's up 6.9. So peaked in overall audience and the key demographic for, guess what segment? MJF and Adam Cole. So it's drawing.
And I love it.
And we'll get to the plans for that on Dynamite when we get to it, I guess, right? So I have a few news items, 4 or 5, but you go ahead. What do you have?
I love that tag team. I guess the big news is WWE's returning to India for another superstar spectacle.
I was wondering, when he says
September
big
8th.
news, is he doing his normal gimmick where it's not big news, or what, did he forget and it's actually big news, but you remembered?
It's first time in, I think, 6 years that they've been there.
Cool.
They did one of these shows in 2021, but that was Thunderdome. And
Yeah.
There's a bunch of random Indian people because they're like, oh yeah, we have them and we need to do that for India. It's one of those things where it's like Guru Raj from NXT.
Right. Sure.
Remember him?
Kind of.
Like,
not really.
It's one of those like where they bust out people that you don't. I think that's the first time we saw Shanky.
Right.
India's shirt popped up again, which I'm sure they will again. It's one of those things. So that's neat, I guess.
Sure.
I will not watch it because I don't care.
That is a market that they want, I'm sure, right? That's
Speaking
a lot
of which,
people.
I had the network on after you left, and two things. One, Naomi and Becky Lynch won a tag match, so there's your favorite women's champion. This is from 2017 when she was champion as well, so
nice.
Before she lost it to Natalya, as you do.
And
then the other thing was Jinder Mahal was WWE champion, and boy, is that really weird as someone who lived through that whole thing.
Didn't hate it.
I did hate it.
You did hate it.
It was bad.
And he wasn't a great champion, but it didn't bother me that much.
Yeah, that was weird. Anywho, they're doing that again. So that's neat.
Yeah, that's great news.
At least it's not Saudi Arabia.
We talked about this. Oh, and you prepared for this one. WWE and Slim Jim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Officially announced a, quote, multi-layered partnership. So
following the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal.
Basically, both companies saying the new agreement marks the largest sponsorship deal in WWE history. So it begins tomorrow at SummerSlam.
What's a Battle Royal?
As they're presenting the Battle Royal. So that's going to be, and this is where you got into it, one of several custom integrations at WWE PLEs. So Slim Jim, you can expect some sort of role at Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I said, like, that. Get ready for lots of ridiculous gimmick matches or other,
like a Mountain Dew pitch black match, for
right,
example,
or other cringeworthy stuff. So you go ahead.
Okay, what so I got 5.
5 what?
5 matches.
Okay, so he wanted to think of some.
I looked up their
Slim
products.
Jim gimmick matches.
Okay. So the first one I have is, so you know how they did the WrestleMania Tag Team Showcase
yes,
match this year, the random one? So for WrestleMania 40, you do the Slim Jim Meat and Cheese Royale, because I thought like meat and cheese is like a tag team thing, because they have meat and cheese things. So it'd be like a tag team battle royal, and you just call it Slim Jim.
Okay,
and
I like it.
I would like to specify.
I could see that happening.
You put Slim Jim before the thing, because it's like that Mountain Dew pitch black match.
Of course,
it's like it's got to be a mouthful, right?
It has to.
Then I'll save my favorite one for last.
Smart.
I think you'll like it. So next we have a Slim Jim bacon jerky on a pole match.
Yeah,
I figured pole match had to make its way in somewhere.
Yeah,
that one works. And we have a Slim Jim Monster Stick Mayhem, which is just a no DQ match, but it's got a stupid name like Weapons Wild.
And I picture like a kendo stick made of Slim Jim.
That I was also one of the ideas I tossed around was a kendo stick match, but it's giant Slim Jims. But I figured you could just work that into this match.
That makes sense.
You just have a monster
kendo
stick, right?
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like salami covered or whatever, like meat stick or whatever.
Yep.
My second favorite one is the Slim Jim Steakhouse Jerky match. It's like an Inferno match, but you try to cook them like steak. You know what I mean? So it's basically an Inferno match.
So whoever
but
can
it's steak themed.
Cook their steak medium well first.
Yeah, exactly.
And we get a little graphics on the screen with like meat thermometers. Oh, he's up to 135 degrees.
Exactly.
He's close.
You got it.
Yeah.
My favorite one is the Slim Jim Squealin' Hot pork rind match. It's like an eye for an eye match, but you extract a piece of skin because I googled what pork rinds are.
Right.
So
Gross, eh?
Yeah, it's like a sponsored version of an eye for an eye match.
I like that you've had such a sheltered life that you had to Google what a pork rind was.
I know I've heard of it before, but I wanted to specifically
of course.
make sure
You're researching this bit.
I knew it was something pig related, so I wanted to make sure I got it. So yeah, it's like an eye for an eye match, but like
nice.
Arguably worse, and
you have
it's
to
also
get a piece of your opponent's skin.
Yeah, I thought skinning
win.
them entirely was a little too far. So like any
how big
piece
a piece?
Of skin.
Like the size of a quarter? What are we saying?
I'd say like I don't know, maybe like a side plate size.
The size of the average pork rind.
Okay.
You calculate the average.
Yeah. You gotta like
somehow.
You gotta like I would.
There's a formula out there.
We'll say like. You could even do like best 2 or 3 falls version where it's like first to get X amount of
You are hitting your stuff
first
a lot
to
today.
get X amount of pieces of skin.
Okay, great.
To make pork rinds. So yeah,
I'm glad you had fun with that.
I really like the pork rind one. So yeah, if WWE would like to take any of those, I will accept royalty checks.
All of them possibly.
But yeah, I mean, what? So that's like 3 potential events with these. So you could use like at least 3 of these. I think.
Exactly.
That works. Yeah.
Your turn.
Oh yeah. So the Elite re-signed with AEW for multi-year deals.
They did.
Hooray!
That is good news. Not surprising.
Personally,
really.
like for me, it was more. I figured they would re-sign, but just to have the security that they, that they for sure did, because I don't really like want them to go anywhere. So just to know, like for certain that they're not going is nice for me.
And I told you I was reading some of the stuff about why they stayed and blah blah blah, and basically I told you I boiled it down to 3 words, and it all makes sense. Freedom, schedule, money, right? That more freedom obviously as executives with the company to sort of decide what and have an influence on what's going on.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was weird for Cody to go.
The schedule is much less hectic, and the money is at least comparable or more or whatever, right? Cody's different though. Dad's got that legacy there, and there is a bit of that.
He lends himself better to that.
And that story of him going after the belt is.
I get him real, a little more, but still, I thought it was weird.
Yep.
But yeah, that makes sense.
What do I have here? Sheamus. I thought this was interesting because you don't often hear WWE superstars complaining.
Superstars.
About anything. So
I saw this, yeah.
Sheamus says that WWE, and I don't disagree with them, wasted his momentum after Clash at the Castle. Because Gunther Sheamus was freaking amazing, right? At that event in Wales. And so even got a 5-star rating from Meltzer, and he feels that they just didn't capitalize this, he being Sheamus.
I understand that, but to disagree a little, I don't know what they would have been able to do with him.
Well, that's coming up.
Because I don't think he ever had a shot at being Roman, because no one
he has a suggestion.
As hot as he was last year, I don't think anyone gives a crap about him enough to want him to be Roman. And 2, I don't think he would have been Gunther, because I think Gunther's got to break the record.
We're at that point now.
At most, he could beat Theory, I guess, but then he's just got another meaningless U.S. title run, which he's done like twice already.
So he calls the War Games thing they did after that crap. He called it a worse word for crap, and feels that the story of him chasing the only belt he hasn't had was the fresh story they should have gone with. He doesn't even say getting it; he just says chasing it.
I guess, yeah.
Right?
They could have revisited that now instead of McIntyre, but I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think he's completely wrong about the momentum. No, it's just to me, it was just noteworthy because it's rare that you hear people complain.
He's not wrong, because it's probably the first time people have actually given a crap about him.
Because that match was awesome. I've kind of Sheamus is Sheamus, right? But that match was sweet for sure.
Yeah, I think they should have done something with him. I just don't really know what they could have done.
No,
and I feel like the story of him chasing the title is interesting, but you can only do it for so long without him winning the title.
But he's saying do that while I'm hot, right? If you're gonna do it then.
But then it would fizzle out anyways.
Well, yeah, but you get another month or 6 weeks or whatever out of it.
I guess, yeah. But then he could be saying the same thing, I guess.
Your turn.
Last one I had was Dark Order have also re-signed contract extensions. So,
nice. Not quite as important.
Keeping them around. No, but that's good. I like them.
Me too.
I like them all.
So we found out that in mid-July, federal law enforcement agents executed a search warrant.
Nearly a year after his initial retirement.
Yeah, and a grand jury subpoena on Vince McMahon, right? So came just after their quarterly filings. and specifics about what they're looking for are still unknown, but I hope they find whatever they're looking for personally. And I think I was listening to, I think it was John and Wei talk about something, and they said early on when there was talk about bringing Vince back that the reaction almost led them to believe that there was other stuff out there when they were saying, nope, don't bring Vince back yet to put him in charge, is because they didn't think that everything that there is to know was known. So who knows? I could be wrong.
Is that to imply that once they know everything, there's eventually a point where they could bring him back safely?
Well, basically that it wasn't the right time to replace him as the head, because if more stuff come out, it could be more damaging. They were just kind of like, let's wait longer until we know everything, sort of thing.
Wait, sorry, I'm confused.
Clearly.
What? So they wouldn't replace him?
They didn't want to bring him back in early when he returned to the being WWE whatever chairman. They were holding off on that, or talking about holding off, because they were afraid more stuff was coming out.
Then they did it now.
But then they did it. Correct.
Okay, I think that makes more sense.
Or that they held off some and not long enough. I don't know, something like that.
I think they should just don't.
Yeah, but anyways,
there's a crazy idea.
I have a couple other things.
Right, I'm tapped out.
So one is just because I wanted your thoughts on it, that Rousey and Baszler is now an MMA match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that
thoughts?
Seems dumb.
Really bad idea. Pretend real fighting is.
It's almost never
always
the
terrible.
only time I think it's worked is Fight Pit,
right?
Because Fight Pit's cool.
Well, and you're kind of going, everybody else's stuff on here is fake, so let's have a real match, which I never
Not only that,
loved that.
Yeah, there's that, and also they just have a bad history with this. Like, anytime they've done fake boxing matches is horrible. The one time they did real boxing matches was horrible. I don't know how good the Lions Den matches were.
We're gonna fight for real while everybody else pretends to fight.
I guess it's like MMA style, but like, what's? I guess that's just like, I guess that works in their logic, but like, I don't know. Just do a Fight Pit.
I mean, if anyone can pull it off, I guess it's those two, right? But
just do a Fight Pit. Honestly,
yeah, I don't know.
Like. Or I don't care. As long as Baszler wins, I don't really care.
And the only other thing I had for you is an injury update. I think everybody from AEW. So Bryan Danielson back in October, possibly September for Grand Slam, but they're saying October to be safe.
I thought you were saying back in October he got injured. I was like,
so that's quite a while.
Yeah. That's not horrible, I guess.
Hater, I think it's longer than initially thought. So they're saying February now.
Yeah.
Which I'm wondering if that can, and we can talk about when we get there, if that contributed to some of the shift in the women's division. Like they were hoping she was back maybe for All In or something, realized she's not going to be, and then decided to go other routes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying, yeah.
And that Thunder Rosa is close to returning, but isn't going to be back in time for All In.
Aww.
Right? But apparently she's like training in ring or whatever and is close.
Oh, well that's... Oh.
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, now I'm not going. If you thought I was going, now I'm not going.
So now let's quickly go through, as quickly as I always say that, and then I do what I always do. But anyway,
it's fine.
We're going to quickly go through what was that? Saturdays. I watched NXT's.
I think it was Sunday.
Sunday? Whatever it was great. Sunday. American Bash.
Yeah, it was Sunday because I remember I think the party thing interfered. I want to say.
Could be true.
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Great American Bash 2023. Okay, so Great American Bash started. I don't know if you saw this. It's really the only thing I'll mention other than the matches mostly was because they always try and do some sort of unique start, right, to sort of summarize all the feuds and matches and stuff. So this time it was Dusty Rhodes and then Cody Rhodes, right? So
remember the TV...
I'm not going to lie. As soon as it switched to Cody, I was done with it.
I remember all the TV specials where they do like the weird summer party things.
I like when they try it. Sometimes it's cheesy, but I like that they always try and do something to because I think they're aware there are probably a decent number of people who just watch the PLEs and don't really watch weekly. So it's a fun way to catch them up on everything, I guess. Well, the opening match for this was the Tag Team Championship match, right? You saw this one. It was Gallus defending against Tony D and Stax. So Tony D recently out of prison, right? Because his freedom was on a match.
They won it in a TV match.
As happens in the American justice system, as I understand it. So in this one, Gallus is in control of Stacks early on. And then you have Tony gets taken out by Wolfgang clothesline on the floor, and Gallus just continue to isolate Stacks for quite a while here. I had a note that the crowd is quiet, but then cheer when Joe Coffey hits a cheap shot, which is not what they're supposed to be doing, right? So
that's bad.
I don't know if it was because they were bored. We get a lengthy Mark Coffey headlock, and at this point, my notes say very slow basic stuff as they control Stacks. Of course, this is leading to the hot tag to Tony D'Angelo, belly to bellies, and a spine buster to Mark Coffey. We get a suplex diving headbutt by the mobsters for a near fall, and Wolfgang throws Mark over the ropes onto Tony,
apropos.
Hits a moonsault to Stacks for a near fall. Joe, obviously, Coffey, that is, interferes at some point, leads to a pinfall attempt, but Tony breaks it up. And then Tony takes out both opponents on the floor. The ref gets distracted. We get a crowbar to Joe Coffey. He gets hit with the crowbar to take him out, and the family hit their finisher. I forget, bada bing, bada boom, or whatever it is.
I don't know what it is.
It's just like a double flapjack. They just like pick them up and drop them, basically.
Incredibly lame.
So we get new champions as expected, right, in just over 9 minutes. You saw this match. I don't know about you.
I didn't love it.
I thought the first half was really slow and the second half was decent. So like overall, it was okay.
I thought like despite it being slow, it just felt like that was normal because like it's building up. But then just like the fasting, it just felt rushed to me and just felt like
it was 9 minutes,
a team match. It just felt really rushed and not like the tag epics we get in good NXT.
Right.
Like this is one of those things where it's not like it's not horribly bad like
2.0,
but this still proves to me that NXT is not what I want it to be. Right?
And not like a PLE hot opener, right?
Right. Like and even probably a shorter tag match. I would assume like when we got Undisputed Era versus Lorcan and Birch, like that was still like that still had enough time to feel like a worthwhile match. This just felt like too short to me, and just it didn't have like it wasn't that layered. It
felt
just was very on the surface.
Better than a TV match.
Yeah,
maybe.
And a rushed payoff kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I didn't love it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Then we got. Did you see any of this? Roxanne Perez and Blair Davenport I
saw a bit of it. I just thought some of the spots were really
what was
lame.
the stipulation?
Weapons wild.
So basically, just one of the million things that means Extreme Rules or whatever you want to call it. So Davenport sort of emerges in the crowd, right, in a hoodie and attacks Perez as she's interacting with ringside fans, including her mom and sister who were there that we would cut back to a lot. And her sister actually did a really good job of like looking upset and whatever as things were going on. So you get Perez doing the dive to the outside and getting hit with a trash can. And then Davenport follows up with a chair shot and then is yelling at Booker and the crowd at one point. Davenport grabs a branding iron, which I thought was funny. You saw this part. You were still there. Because you noted she covered the end with her hand.
She did the Triple H
So
thing.
not only is the branding iron not hot at all, which is kind of the point, right? Like you heat it up and brand somebody, but she covers it with her hand and hits Perez in the stomach.
And I'd like it to be hot.
More chair shots. Roxanne's mom looks stressed here. My note says trash can hat for Perez, which is just the trash can over top of her, and then a branding iron strikes repeatedly by Davenport. Actually looked pretty good and had the satisfying sound of hitting the can with metal.
I always like when the trash cans like they get slammed on or they kick her and like dance. Like I love trash cans as a weapon. I love those.
And I guess it's relatively safe because WWE still does it, right? So the crowd again not cooperative, chanting for Roxy, which is her previous like indie name, right? And Davenport continues her attack.
Not to do that. Can't do that.
Perez finally drop kicks a chair into Davenport, but Davenport finds a belt. I don't know if she took off her own belt. I didn't catch it. She's whipping Perez and choking her with it in front of her own family. And then Perez with a cowbell attack, and then she gets the belt and sort of straps it around Davenport's wrist and then whips her into the barricade. Looked pretty good. And then Perez gets a table from under the ring. Perez gets slammed onto a trash can for a near fall back in the ring. Then she gets booted off the apron into the steps. Running knee to Davenport's head against the steps. I think that's a repeat of a spot they've done, if I remember correctly. And then she gets placed on the table, and I called it because it was a falling crossbody off the top, right? Did you see it?
I didn't like that. It felt like such a WWE spot. And
I mean, the table broke well, and they went through it, but it was just her falling forward off the top rope.
It just didn't feel extreme in the slightest, or wild if they want to call it that.
No. But that was the big spot. Back in the rim, Pop Rocks on some chairs. I thought that looked good. It had decent snap to it, and it was on the chairs. So it's over in just under 12 minutes with Roxanne Perez picking up the win. And this was just like, it's fine, but it's hard when and I try to evaluate NXT separately, but when you're watching Blood and Guts, or when you're watching even the match that was on Dynamite this week that we'll get to, like, this is a fine PG weapons match, like WWE, right? You're going to use trash cans and chairs.
Even for them, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're capable more, though.
They are.
Especially, like, the table spot was, it came for even them, I feel like.
And it feels like, also, I thought it was strange that it felt like they heated up Davenport to have her lose her first significant match, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know they don't
I guess they gave her the TV win, like.
And they don't want to pin a lot of losses on Perez because they have big plans for her, I think. But
I would assume.
And because, I mean, that's my question at the end of this. Are there any other babyface possibilities to challenge Stratton outside of Perez and Hale? Right? I can't think of any, and I watch the show every week. Because Hale's obviously gets her chance here.
Yeah, and like there's a bunch of people out, like Wendy Chun, Lyons, and Sol Ruka. I'm not saying any of those are great options, but just potential options.
So I don't know what baby faces there are at this point that are singles and at any level. Who are you?
Dana Brooke.
I guess, right? Oh, God. Please, no. But it's possible.
I'm willing to bet there's a fair chance they do that.
They need somebody.
Especially because she's, and I do mean this like with air quotes, quote unquote, established.
Right. Very established.
Yeah.
Well, and now she's like a hardcore legend because she had that match.
Well, she was already a legend.
So those first two matches I thought were okay. Like, they weren't bad. They were kind of fine. And then at the low point of the show was next for me, and that was Baron Corbin taking on Gable Steveson.
I didn't watch this.
Crowd not
it makes me laugh.
Cooperating at all, and I liked it because they wanted no part of Gable Steveson, right?
I respect that.
I do too, and I don't know what it is, whether it is
they know about that, but I feel like that hasn't
some of his history before. Or they just don't like him or whatever it is, but they're not having him, and you're putting him against Corbin, who's like a heel of heels.
They cheered Corbin.
Correct.
When has that ever happened?
So much of this is Steveson selling Corbin's kind of slow, basic offense. And I don't totally blame Corbin because he's probably got to go pretty slow with this guy who's not an experienced pro wrestler. So it's a long stretch of that. And Steveson's selling I thought was okay. And then obviously Steveson gets his chance on offense. So he gets suplexes. He throws Corbin over the announce table. They brawl and it leads to a double count out after 6 minutes, right? And then the brawl continues after the count out. And the big final spot is Corbin gets sent through the barricade as Steveson sort of stands tall and his music plays.
The suplex through the barricade, I thought that looked kind of weird.
Like, if this were Steveson's first match on an episode of NXT, I kind of get it, right? He sold a bunch, he got in a few moves, he doesn't take a loss. All that's fine, I guess, but it's on a PLE, and this is supposed to be meaningful, and it was nothing.
I think it's kind of weird just to do that with him, because I feel like they would want it to be like a second coming Kurt Angle thing, and I'm pretty sure they didn't do any of this with Kurt Angle.
So I'm glad Corbin didn't lose, because I didn't want, not that I'm a huge Corbin fan, but I think if they're going to use him well, this is a chance for him
to get something.
If they're going to use him properly, he can't lose to this guy right away.
Yeah, it's a chance for them to do something with him, right?
So I don't know. I didn't love this. I don't know what it was doing on a PLE, and I don't really care if this means Steveson's now leaving or staying. I don't really care.
He just has a double count and leaves.
Right. He's undefeated. He can put that on his resume.
Exactly.
Then things started to pick up for me. Wesley, Mustafa Ali, Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. And you've got Dom, who is obviously outmatched by both these guys. And I think that is baked into this story. I don't think they're denying that fact. So he's running away early, not looking to engage with anyone. And then there's a fun spot where Lee and Ali, this is tough, Lee and Ali, are fighting over who gets to beat up Dom, basically, right? Because they both want at him. And then there's an interesting spot where they each take turns trying to chop Dom, but Dom moves, and they end up, they're trying to chop each other, and then they move and hit Dom. So Dom's taking damage that's not even directed at him and can't get out of the way. So then Dom stays on the floor so the other two can do some fast-paced, evenly matched offense that looked pretty good. And then Dom takes over when he comes out of nowhere to sort of shove both men off of I don't know what they were going up. They were climbing up top. So he shoves them off of the corner into separate parts of the barricade. And then Dom's in control, but not for long. His attempt at a double suplex backfires, and Ali and Lee have to break up each other's pin attempts on Dom. Then you get Ali with a simultaneous, picture it, ready? Unless you saw it, Boston Crab and Camel Clutch. And actually worked out better than I thought. It actually looked like both could be in pain. right? Whereas when Natty does the double sharpshooter,
That
it
just looks stupid.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this actually, I was like, and then he gets it on. I'm like,
That
okay.
I could see that making sense.
Yes. Then I don't know why he had to do this, but at one point, both Dom and Wes Lee are sort of draped across the bottom rope onto the apron, like over the apron, and Ali goes for a 450 to both and misses. So he just misses a 450 on the apron.
He
It looked
ate
rough.
the hardest part of the ring.
He did. And then Rhea Ripley's there. Obviously, she chases Wesley away from Dom on the outside. Lee ends up jumping over her onto Dom on the floor, and then Ripley drags Wesley out of the ring and hits a did you see this? Really good riptide through the announce table.
I thought it was all right.
I thought it looked nice. Like it looked like she drove him through rather than she dropped him through, and that's obviously my preference. Back in the ring for a nice near fall. The crowd is now sort of they really reacted to that riptide, maybe one of the biggest reactions of the night for that. We get a belt shot, Lee kicks out, commentary point out that the ref's distracted in a triple threat.
Wait, what?
They go out of their way to be like, oh, there's a belt shot, but the ref couldn't see it. Doesn't matter. Correct?
Yeah, because they always tout triple threats as
automatically. So I just thought it was funny that because they kind of awkwardly had to explain how this wasn't seen by the ref. But I'm like, does not matter. Could literally do it in front of him and then hit him with the belt. Doesn't matter.
You could do it beside him or any which way.
So I just can't believe I picked up on that. That's like a detail you would get.
That is dumb.
I'm proud of myself. So Ali hits the 450 to Wesley, but Ripley pulls Ali off the pin, and then Dom immediately follows up with a frog splash and steals the win. And I thought this match was good, and the final few minutes were excellent. To this point, it was the best match on the show. It does get eclipsed later, but and I talked about this with you a bit. I'm okay with Dom sneaking out another win. It looks like Wesley and Muhammad Ali can spin off, or
Mustafa.
Ali.
You did the reverse of what I remember. I was talking about the Muhammad Ali figure on. I did the reverse of that.
That's right. But it also looks like Wesley's getting involved with Carmelo Hayes. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Dom may be moving on to Dragon Lee. So I don't mind this title run for Dom because I was telling you, it's like he's the anti-worker with the workers title.
I think it's a solid way to also because everyone's always been saying he should go to NXT and get better.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can do that.
And he goes and he dominates, but hopefully he does get better.
Dominates.
Right? Well, you know what I mean.
That's funny.
But he keeps winning. He knows he's not a good wrestler. That's part of the joke, and that he finds ways to win, and that's just how it is.
I'm hoping they can secretly use it to make him a good wrestler.
Me too. Because the character stuff's working.
The character I think works. Yeah, and then it's just the in-ring ability. He's a step behind, kind of.
He's not great.
He's not horrible, but he's just kind of a step behind.
He's not great.
Yeah,
and that's I think works in this exact situation, right? Especially following Wesley, who it was like, I'll fight anyone, anytime, as many people as you want, as often as you want.
And then the payoff is probably something where it catches up to him.
Yes, I would think so. Then we get the NXT Women's Championship match, which is Thea Hale taking on Tiffany Stratton here. And the crowd loves Thea Hale. And my question was, are there fewer plants for the PLE? Because she doesn't have a specific segment or anything. So I was wondering if this was more organic or less.
I would assume
Me too.
So.
And it's a bigger crowd, right? So
yeah.
Probably a smaller percentage.
Yeah, and I would assume so. Yeah, because it's also not in.
Is your laptop hanging over the edge of the desk?
Yeah.
So why don't you not do that?
Just because it's
you keep hitting
an
it.
Angle.
But so anyways, early submissions and counters by both because this is a submission match, right? For this one, you
don't see a lot of those.
It wasn't perfect. There was a missed dive spot. I'm pretty sure Stratton was supposed to hit the diving Hale with something, but it just kind of nothing happened. You get Stratton focusing on Hale's back after running her into the ring post. We get a bow and arrow, a Canadian backbreaker, among other things. Then it's Hale having these little flurries. She gets an exploder while she's selling her back. I think she couldn't get it the first time, but did the second time. A lengthy body scissors by Stratton as she continues to target that lower back. Hale again rallies, dives to the floor a couple times, runs Stratton's shoulder into the post now on the outside. We did crossbody by Hale, but Stratton rolls through it, powers up, and then Hale tries to counter with the Kimura, and Stratton counters with a suplex into the corner, which I thought was a really nice sequence of them countering stuff, and then the culminating in a good-looking suplex into the corner. They both go up top, and we get an avalanche exploder by Hale, and then right into a Kimura, and Stratton escapes, and I was a bit confused because maybe I was looking down to take notes because I'm not a great typer, but she didn't have to break. There's no rope breaks in this, right? So I don't know why Hale let it go.
I thought there is.
There is not. They were saying there wasn't. So I don't know why she let go. I missed that detail.
I feel like that would be in a no DQ submission, but that's weird.
We get the prettiest moonsault ever to the back, a Boston Crab, and then a pretty nasty looking single leg crab. And Andre Chase throws in the towel as Hudson is there as well, sort of selling, not really loving that decision. And this was about 12 minutes. So honestly, I thought WWE wasn't doing them any favors by making it a submission match, because neither of them are, to me, for a really great submission, you kind of had to have technical people, right, who know a lot of holds,
like Saber.
So I was a bit worried, but I thought
Danielson.
I thought this ended up being pretty good. Stratton looked good targeting the lower back. She had enough variety in her moves attacking the back, and then Hale was just flurries trying to get the Kimura on, right? So that story makes sense to me. They have something.
Even MJF.
They have something with both of these two, right? And they can circle back to this feud if they want to in months or years. I don't know, but I enjoyed this. And you're also furthering the story because Andre Chase, it did seem like he threw the towel in a bit early, right? In the grand scheme of wrestling, she hadn't taken that much punishment.
Yeah.
So I think it's this idea like he's
protective.
Yeah, babying her like he's the overprotective big brother sort of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of idea. So that's kind of cool. Then we go to the main event, which you did watch with me, right?
Yeah, that's the only one I actually wanted to see.
Right. So Carmelo Hayes has kind of a cool, like, Dusty Rhodes themed entrance bit, right?
That he's got new tights.
Oh yeah, that too.
I dig it.
So we get holds and counters for a while to start this off, and then Hayes with a really hard chop that sort of activates Dragunov, right? We do get the springboard clothesline by Hayes that generally looks really good.
I like the way he does it. He just does it different.
He does. Dragunov escapes after that and kind of regroups on the floor. Then he comes it back with a sudden leaping kick, and that flips Hayes right over. Dragunov catches.
Yeah, that was a weird sell, I thought.
It
was.
Like,
I'm not saying it's bad. It was a weird choice.
Dragunov catches a springboard attempt of some kind into a German suplex, and then 3 more stiff German suplexes a little bit after that. 2 vicious forearms from Dragunov. Mello sells being kind of like out of it and woozy, right? Which I thought he did a good job. Dragunov chops end in a discus chop for a near fall. Constantine special for 2, which is what again? I wrote it down because they said it.
The thing where he
spins out of the ropes.
Spins out of the ropes. And I like it.
Yep.
It's cool.
So for a while, it's Hayes getting in a move here and there, right? But Dragunov mostly staying in control for a lot of this. We get stiff short arm clotheslines by Dragunov, and Hayes fights back with a series of kicks. Leaping head kick by Dragunov again. I have a rebound spinning takedown. I think it's that satellite like face buster thing he does.
The tilt whirl face buster.
It's cool.
I like that. The way he landed off of that was interesting.
And honestly, it's because how quickly he spins around.
Oh yeah,
that looks cool, right?
I didn't like it at first. I thought it was like usually the tilt whirl where he does it like that. Like Gargano would do that exact same thing into the Gargano escape. Like for a while, like I didn't love it because I thought like it should transition in something. But I think now, like he usually gets some good speed and like force on it.
It looks
but,
cool.
I accept it.
Yep,
I like it.
More stiff chops and a mellow clothesline. Both men are down for a bit here.
Dragunov was chopping him hard.
Crowd's really into this, right? Many elbows to the side of Dragunov's head and a springboard DDT for a 2 count. Dragunov with a top rope senton for 2. Dragunov hits a coast to coast, but tries to. It's countered with a nice code breaker. They nailed that spot, right?
Oh, that I love the way Dragunov just flies off after. Like I just thought that was really cool.
Great.
That was one of the big spots I thought that was really cool.
Another nice counter. The nothing but net is countered into a quick power bomb.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the counter they always have in 2K, so that's happened to me a million times. But
Dragunov nailed that falling forearm he does, or leaping forearm really for a near fall, right? Awesome. We get a superplex nicely countered by Mello into a cutter for a 2 count.
Cool
Looked really good.
That was really unique, I thought.
So this is lots of really big counters here. We get a simultaneous boot. Both men are down. The crowd is going crazy at this point. And basically the finish comes when Trick ends up taking the Torpedo Moscow, right, out on the floor for Carmelo. Does he shove Mello out of the way, or I
think that was the intent. He was like giving him the pep talk, right, and he had the belt, and I think Dragunov kind of the implication was he kind of hit the belt. I don't know if he really did, but that was kind of the idea, I think.
Right. So then immediately, basically nothing but net from Carmelo, and he retains, picks up the win after 24 minutes. Go ahead, your thoughts?
Length. I really like this. I thought this was something that would belong on a takeover, I thought.
Yes, I agree.
I thought the story with Dragunov kind of being controlled a lot of the time, I thought that worked really well because Dragunov is pretty dominant with all the chops. And I think Mello, the selling of the chops throughout the match, because he got chopped all the times, and Dragunov also hits hard. We know that.
He does.
Even I saw that was a thing on NXT as well. You kind of mentioned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I thought that was a good story. And then once it picked up, once Mello kind of got back into it, thought that was really good too. The Codebreaker spot was awesome.
Second half was pretty great.
The comeback, the tilt-a-whirl was awesome. The powerbomb counter was awesome. The cutter counter, the forearm always looks good. Constantine special is cool.
This is the type of match that'll look really good when they put a highlight reel to recap.
Yeah, that's
it,
what
right?
I saw highlights of it before.
Lots of cool
it
counters.
Looks really cool, yeah.
And this is two baby faces technically, right? So
yeah,
that's
I thought
hard
Dragunov
to do.
kind of working a little heelish worked here, just for
But he's always the super intense aggressive,
right?
Anyways,
Which is why
so it's hard to tell.
He brought back the contact lenses.
He did,
right? Which I thought
and
was.
he wore them on TV again too.
That was oh god, we're not. It better not be a permanent thing.
Yeah,
again.
they're back. It looks like.
But yeah, I think his character is like that. It lends itself well to like the temporary heel kind of thing. So I don't think he needs to be, because he's pretty popular, I think, right? So I think it works as like kind of a temporary heel thing. But I really like this. It made my list. It'll get a nomination at least, because I feel like usually AEW matches we enjoy far better, and I think
more consistently for sure.
More consistently, a lot better. And I think especially on TV. So I think, and obviously, I think it's a lock that AEW gets my match of the year spot, but I think this is a good one. I like to include WWE ones so that I'm not like because we usually split it by company first, but so that like for the general category we have some.
I get extra thrilled when I get to put an Impact match in there.
Yeah.
Right? Because my women's
Bailey
match
Alexander.
was Grace and Masha. That match was awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad this is like a really good one, because then I can include it in the categories and not have like such a one-sided affair.
I thought this was
I really liked it.
A great main event, super entertaining second half, and there's just something about Dragunov, right? His matches are extra dramatic. The story he can tell is awesome, and then Mello looked really resilient, picks up a super high quality win, and I just hope Dragunov sticks around, because I really, really enjoy it. And honestly, when I first saw him in NXT UK, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
you know?
I thought they definitely really reworked it.
He is awesome.
His character wasn't like, it wasn't really all that much when he started. I didn't really love him. I think the Walter match was the real turnaround, and then from there it's just been going up.
And I'm super happy with Mello's performance, because that one main event with Braun I really didn't like.
Yeah, that was the first one, right? And
I
don't remember the Battleground one being particularly amazing.
It wasn't, but it was better than that. So it's nice to see Mello here, because we love Mello, have an awesome match like this. So
this is like the kind of stuff he needs to do for his title run.
Overall, I guess I can give it a rating. I watched it all. The final three matches were good. I quite liked the women's championship, the men's championship, and the North American championship, right? So the only low spot really was the Corbin-Stevenson match, and the other two matches were fine but not great. So I thought it was a B show. I would recommend the main event for sure. And then the two other matches I liked are worth watching, but definitely seek out Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov if you haven't. Agreed?
Yeah.
All right.
I like the main event.
It was great. So let's move into talking about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, I said goodnight to your brother. I made a coffee.
I'm going to Toronto tomorrow.
You are going to Toronto tomorrow.
There, I did it.
And I checked on the cat. She is still curled up on the blanket on the couch.
You didn't invite her?
She had a busy day today, worked hard.
Darn.
Ate, slept, walked around, growled at birds, whatever she does.
I think that was today. Yeah, earlier there was like a chipmunk that ran by, and then there was another chipmunk that was in the trampoline for a second.
Oh yeah, I saw him in there.
She was having a field day today.
So I didn't tell you this at your brother's soccer game last night. I've never seen this before. So it was about 20 minutes from here. It wasn't in town. So they have this giant nest. They built a platform on one of the light standards, because it's like an osprey or a falcon or some kind of giant bird. And you can see it in there, and there's a baby. So we already saw it once flying with a fish to take back, and then a second time it was flying.
Oh, the mom mentioned that they
dropped
a fish.
Dropped a dead fish onto the soccer field in the middle of the game. So
Mom told
the
me.
game stopped, so the goalie ran and just grabbed, because he has the goalie gloves on, just picked up this dead fish and threw it into the woods. It was an experience. But anyways, tell me about AEW Dynamite this week.
I forgot for a second we were talking.
That's a good lead into that.
That's your lead in.
That's it.
A fish.
It was funny. I forgot.
So we are talking about Dynamite 200 this week. Woo!
Oh, that's right. And what was your favorite part of Dynamite?
They brought back
there
the freaking tunnles.
Do I know my
they
son or what?
actually did it. I was so happy when I saw the one guy posted about it, like.
Do you think
and the old graphics of the paint splatter, which like it looks sick.
Do you think that was just for 200?
I think so, but we can always dream.
One can
right?
dream. Yep.
I loved it. It's so much better though. Like that's one of the things I feel like I'm always gonna be like that because I feel like in wrestling a lot of things are just you gotta get used to it.
Yes.
Right. Like Melo wears tights. I like that better now. I didn't before, and now it's like a lot of things you got
with
like
so many names that we hate, and then you just get used to it.
Right. A lot of names. Yeah. There's like. Other than Butch.
Vicious Vixens.
Those are gone though. That's good at least. But yeah, there's like so many things you gotta use. I think I'm always gonna like the tunnels better. It's just it was so cool, and I like the heel face system. I like that it was different.
Yep.
And this made me happy because it's nice to see the old stage again, and also the nostalgia of it, which normally I'm not. But like this is good nostalgia because AEW.
My note says
nice.
Tunnels are back and Jack cheers.
Just gotta love the tunnels. It's perfect. It's such a better setup.
I like it.
The good old days. Anywho, opener time. We got Jericho and Takeshita.
Yep.
And Takeshita
excited for half of that.
Takeshita came out to Jericho's team. Yay.
Yeah, that's one of my comments later.
And they're taking on Garcia and Guevara of the Jazz.
Right.
And Sammy's got like this pink. He's got like Bret Hart inspired gear, which I thought that looked kind of cool. Actually, I really like that. I would take a figure of that.
It did look good.
And I like that Sammy's in here because he was in the first Dynamite opener, so I like that.
That is true.
Him and Cody with no last name.
Right. Didn't earn it yet.
We saw the sign for Trent.
I did see a sign for Cody Trent, question mark.
Honestly, I think the Trent one is memorable, but I honestly forget. Like, I was looking back at the old AEW figures, and like the one Cody Rhodes figure I have is technically a Cody figure, because I forget that I've completely forgotten that he used to just not have a last name.
That's right. He wasn't allowed to use Rhodes.
I just don't.
He was Cody Runnels.
No, he was just Cody. Just Cody. For a while. Maybe his real name was Cody Cutter.
Maybe.
That's where that comes from. We don't know.
Could be.
I'm just saying. Some noodles from the match. Guevara hit that corkscrew drop kick he always does. Then there's a chop exchange between him and Jericho. Garcia and Jericho have a chop exchange. Then there's a part where Jericho just chops him, and then he dances and chop and then dance and then chop and then dance.
And the dance is over.
He arm wrenches Jericho down, and then he dances over him. So that was interesting.
People love the dancing.
Despite him being a heel, he's you're getting that over. Takeshita hits his leaping clothesline, which that just looks nuts. I think we watched it a couple times, right?
Yeah, probably.
I remember we rewound at least once. But that is he gets such speed on that, and then the early jump always.
Yeah, you're like, he
trips me out. Like
he started too early. He's not gonna get there.
Because he hits the ropes a couple times because he gets like insane speed. Because kind of like Fraser, you talk about that sometimes.
Yeah,
right? It's like that kind of speed, and he jumps like basically right after hitting the ropes on the second time he bounced or whatever. Like he's jumping basically right from the ropes in the middle of the ring, and he hits it.
Still gets there.
On. It's like it's such a mind trip sometimes, but I love it. That's why I love Takeshita.
He moves real fast for a big man.
I like that he still does that though, because I feel like that's something. I guess like he could still do it as a heel, because it's not like an overly like babyface kind of thing. Just I thought like he might kind of drop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's still good doing it.
It looks so good, and he hit Garcia with the forearm, which looked pretty nice. He did a 1-foot pin, which is a Jericho reference, but he also mocked Garcia's dance.
He did.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like Takeshita. Guevara hit a tornado to the outside on Takeshita. There was a big frog splash from Guevara. Got some nice height on that for 2. Jericho broke the pin there. Then Guevara and Jericho shove each other before Garcia attacks Jericho. There's a blue thunder bomb to Guevara from Takeshita. That always looks good.
It does.
Codebreaker to Garcia for 2 from Jericho. Sammy had a shooting star to the outside to Takeshita. It looked like he got hit in the face, but I think he was fine after.
I thought he took a forearm right across the face
like
in the moment.
He looked fine after.
Yeah, he did. So. He was back in the ring quickly.
Mm-hmm. Then Garcia, he had Jericho on the Dragon Tamer, but while the ref was distracted by Takeshita and Guevara on the outside, Callis hits Garcia with the baseball bat, Floyd, and Jericho looks annoyed but reluctantly takes the win. Him and Takeshita win.
He chose the Callis family over the Jazz, I guess.
Blasphemy.
Is the point, right? I thought it was a good tag team match. We talked about it. I didn't like the finish because it's just like we've talked about it before. Jericho's character is so inconsistent, right? Like you're surprised that Callis did this? I don't Don Callis.
I'm gonna I do think that's weird too, but I'm willing to chalk it up to he's a little distraught because it's his boys, and he's he had kind of
his boys who he hasn't cared about in quite some time.
Well, he does still, but
I guess.
You know what I mean. But I'm chalking up to it's his boys, so he's a little annoyed about that, and then probably also the rose tinted glasses with Callis, because clearly all the bad news Allen nonsense in the good old days kind of thing is kind of getting him. Obviously, that's why he's kind of in the turmoil, because I feel like if it wasn't for that, Callis is kind of pulling the wool over, something like that.
It's just a bridge too far.
It is a little weird. I don't think
that he has a problem with cheating all of a sudden. I know it's against his own team, but this is Jericho, and that you're expecting something else from Callis, but not a shocking development, I didn't think, but I guess it was for Jericho. And it's all there just to further the will he or won't he join Callis, right? And I guess, I don't know, it just makes him look inconsistent. I did like the action in the match, and I thought everyone got a good reaction from the crowd. But as part of your fear, Jericho is already taking the focus away from Takeshita, right?
Yep.
None of this is about Takeshita at this point. It's all about Jericho. You're coming out to his theme. You're doing his stuff. All the attention is him. Yep. I still don't think Jericho's going to choose to be in the family, and that's good. But
I don't care. This is
already
bad.
A problem.
Yeah, this is exactly why I've been so heavily against this for weeks, and I don't know why I didn't focus on that sooner, but thank you. Now I can rant about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not good, taking the focus away from Takeshita, when literally we've seen Callis say, I don't know if it was a promo or you read something, but we know for fact this is a Takeshita faction, okay? This is Takeshita City,
for
baby.
For a fact.
Okay?
He is the pillar of that family.
Yeah, you want to talk pillars by AEW? Nah. He's the pillar of Don Callis, baby. And
he's that middle tent pole of all the old tents in the 70s and 80s.
Exactly. If this is a circus tent, he's the big middle one holding it up, and you got to have a bunch of them around him. Jericho is not the tent pole, okay? It's Takeshita, and don't you forget it. But back to the point. I thought this was a fine opener. Not amazing, but serviceable. Not bad.
I liked it.
I thought the action was solid.
Me too.
Takeshita and Sammy, the highlights, obviously, as I would figure. I think it's cool Sammy was in, though, because he was in the first time in opener, and Cody, no last name, can't for obvious reasons, because he's focusing on his big documentary.
That's right.
The finish is fine. I guess it makes sense. I felt like with what Jericho chose to do there, commentary were trying to sell this as him making his choice, but I don't think it is.
I agree. I think they're
I feel like it's more like him just taking the win.
They're overstating it, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Because I don't think he's gonna. I agree with you. I don't think he's going.
I don't either, and I don't know why. I just don't feel like that's where they're going.
It just doesn't seem like
Just because wrestling trains you, when all of the things look like he's going to join, including this finish, then no, he's not.
And I feel like he just would have joined already.
Right.
You know, there's no need to drag it out if you're just gonna. You know what I mean?
It's a Jericho storyline, so it gets dragged out for months and months. We'll be talking about this in 2024. Good chance.
The bidding war of 2024 has been a ruse. It's going to be Jazz versus Don Callis. This is the bidding war of 2024. It's for Jericho.
But do you think that's maybe how we get to Jericho Ospreay, because Ospreay was affiliated with Callis lightly?
I don't think so, because
apparently that's what we're getting.
I think, that's stupid. Don't book that match. That's
I know, but
dumb.
We are, I think, getting it.
I don't think so. It has to, I swear to God, if it's not Ospreay Omega, I'm not going to watch the show.
Yeah, right. That's not true.
On time. Boom.
Well, we don't.
I'm not going to watch it on time anyways.
Right.
So I win. But I don't think so, because I don't think the Ospreay alliance with Callis is like that at all, because I don't think Ospreay really wanted to be aligned with Callis. It was more like he was just taking it, because I think that was more for Callis to be there just to screw Omega.
Yeah.
And because obviously we saw with the security, it wasn't about Ospreay.
No.
So I need to watch that match again.
Okay, keep going here.
Anyways,
be up all night.
Still time for Jericho to reject Callis, so let's get to it. Which that is not Jericho's catchphrase, apparently. He's whatever the opposite "let's get to it" is, that is what he likes.
Correct.
Next we got Tony Khan speaking words to my face.
Awkwardly.
Gotta love it. He talks about the 200th episode of Dynamite, and he plugs all in again. He thanks the fans. That's me.
Yep.
He thanked me. I got a personal thank you on TV.
The staff.
I'm famous. And that's also me.
Yep.
I've been a staff member this whole time.
Correct.
Then we get a Dynamite highlight reel. Anything to say?
Yeah, the highlight package was cool, but we had, I don't know if it's just here or whatever, but we had
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
we had like several seconds of
Just
audio.
like the tail end of it was replaced with the Wendy's ad.
Yeah, a few seconds of a Wendy's ad was over the final images of the highlight package, so that was kind of fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah, but it was fine. It was a cool package.
I liked it a lot. Awkward Tony Khan always makes me laugh, but I just like how real the dude is.
Yep.
Like, just thinking of it now is like when the whole Vince scandal was going on. First, he comes out and like he's talking about the fans, or it's just like Tony Khan. Like, he's not perfect, but it just feels legitimate to me. Like, he's just doing his best to like be on TV and speak, and it's just like it's him.
Vince is like a carny built for this,
and Tony Khan's
like a wrestling nerd that bought a company.
Yeah, and that's right? I'm not trying to be biased, but he just doesn't feel like
it's just how
I'm not trying to be biased, but like he doesn't feel like a carny to me. Just it feels authentic, right?
Yeah.
But I really like the package. It was sweet. I'm not typically a big nostalgia guy. I think you would fall into that as well.
Yes.
But the Dynamite 200 stuff does kind of get me because I think it was a great time to be a fan when they started, and I have a lot of happy memories with AEW and Dynamite. Like,
yep,
I think
me too.
It's not, I don't know, and it's not super old, so it's like nostalgia, but it's also like not. I feel like the issue with nostalgia is that it clouds your vision for something that's not good. But I feel like if you were to go back to start Dynamite again, I think it would still be good. It just makes me happy back at that time, right? So I don't think it's like nostalgia where it's like you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like bad nostalgia. Even like the old graphics on the show flash me back to those days, and I like it. I think the paint graphics are so much cooler. Just it's more vibrant. It's a better look. It's still great now, but I think I just missed the old look. It felt more unique to them. But I really like seeing all the old moments, and the short bits of CM Punk, and those will be easy to.
That's my thought. Is when he gets mad and leaves again, and they want to use this package.
When he does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When they want to use this package for anything else, they can edit. He was in it for like 4 seconds. They just cut him out, no problem.
Yeah. It that makes sense. I mean, it's inevitable. I thought this was great. I like seeing the Hangman Kenny win the tag titles. I hope they do another cruise ship show. I'm disappointed they haven't revisited that because I thought that was a really cool concept. And one more thing to note is I'm just sad they omitted the Hangman Dark Order entrance from that 10-man tag, the elimination one.
Right.
Because that's one of my favorite moments. Anyways, good nostalgia.
It was.
Like, just the old Dynamite stuff makes me happy. I just love AEW. That's all I want to say. Next we get Jericho interview. Jasmine next week. That's it. Menard said that.
This gets multiple segments, many weeks, and I just want it to end. Feels like NXT a bit to me is my comment. Right when they do those stories I don't love, and it's like 3 times every show.
Oh yeah. At least it's not like a. I hated those though.
The Way or
The Way had some
Index or all that stuff.
Index in particular, yeah. This is fine and short. Something next week. Then I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You want to complain about them in segments next week? Well, we're gonna have this is like, it's like take out Cole MJF and replace it with something I don't like.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. Speaking of something I don't like, boom, segue. Jack Perry and Jerry Lynn's quote unquote face to face.
Didn't they not basically imply it was going to be a match?
I thought it was implied like it would be like probably like some like a fight, where it's
I
like
don't think he can wrestle. So obviously they're bringing somebody else.
That's what I was thinking. Like I was almost positive that Jerry Lynn had something wrong with him.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, so he's got like a Daniel Bryan kind of thing.
Yeah,
except worse, obviously. Bryan Danielson, whatever. Daniel Bryanson, if you wanna.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Do my way.
Yeah. So Jack calls out Jerry Lynn, then he walks out with theme music this time. They really had to put an effort to give him a theme, I guess. Jerry Lynn said that making example of Jack would be child abuse. I thought that was kind of funny. Jerry said so he's gonna let his friend do child abuse is basically what he's saying, I guess. He said with all the plates and screws in his neck, there's not a doctor alive that would allow him to be in the ring. Lynn said he decided to call a friend of his who wrestled in ECW and still wrestles today, unfortunately. And that led to...
I half jokingly said RVD.
Oh,
I was kind of being funny.
I was giving you a look because I already knew.
I did not.
But, I
thought
that was
half
funny.
jokingly.
Yeah, and then RVD came out to his old ECW theme as well, so that was interesting.
Yep.
He intimidated Jack, so he left, which you gotta love for your world champion.
Yep.
And, then when he was talking with Lynn in the ring, Jack tried to attack him with a chair, but then RVD avoided it, nearly hit him with like his trademark jumping kick. And Jack dodged it and ran off.
Yeah. kind of felt largely like a waste of time. And you talked about nostalgia, and I always joke that I'm kind of devoid of nostalgia, and this is evidence because late 90s,
Well, I know you love RVD.
Rob Van Dam was my legit favorite wrestler.
If you
in
say
ECW,
negative things about this, I know you're.
And like to the point where my pin number on my bank thing was RVD1. I loved him so much, but like,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
and he's still in good shape. But what we looked it up, he's like 52, right?
So I'd say good shape. He's in decent shape
for a 52-year-old. If I look that good at 52, I'll be pretty thrilled. But I just don't have desire to see him wrestle. And there's a lot of other people backstage that I don't get to see. And I don't think Jungle Boy RVD at All In is a money match. And that's what we're getting.
I think it's next week.
I don't know.
Well, okay. So it is
I'm a
next
bit nervous.
week, but I feel like they're gonna. I could see them
get it to all in.
Which that's such a WWE thing, so I don't want to expect that of them, but I can't help but be skeptical. I would love for it to be done next week and just have it over. I would love nothing more than that, but I can't help but be like, So
I wasn't thrilled with this. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I thought this was kind of lame. No physicality, which isn't a huge surprise, but then it's just annoying that they were trying to tease me with that, which yeah, that's wrestling, but still.
And I get it's the whole FTW, Taz, ECW era
I get the
stuff,
connection, but I think it's still kind of a stretch, and it's like,
yeah,
I guarantee Taz and RVD were never friends in ECW, so like, come on. Jack and Jerry didn't really say much of anything. And it was mostly just the RVD reveal, which is not something I really care about. It's not the worst reveal in human history, but it's just another old guy crowding AEW that we don't need and kind of made fresh heel Jack Perry look dumb here.
Yeah,
which is not what you want to do because I don't think he's obviously not perfect as a heel. He's still finding his footing, but that's the point. You can't you can't have a fresh heel be made to look dumb like this by two old guys.
I did like my favorite part of this was when he had already snuck away and tried to sneak back in with a cheap shot.
I did like that. I also liked him holding up a child in front of him in the crowd.
That was
cool.
good too. Yeah, you're right.
But I just don't think it doesn't help him, and I don't think RVD needs to be here, and he doesn't wrestle that great anymore. It's just I think he's mostly just as great as hits kind of thing.
And I guess it'll be Jungle Boy like doing awful things to RVD just to generate more heel heat, and maybe that works, I guess. But again, I feel like there's other ways to do that. I don't really
care nonetheless.
No, agree.
I'm just saying, hopefully at least RVD doesn't sign full time, and hopefully Jack gets the win so he doesn't look like a complete chump. There we go. Because we're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not
a far cry from the pillar stuff, right? That he was doing 6 weeks ago or whatever.
Even Sonata.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just
starting him off slow. I guess training wheels are on at a heel run.
Hook was his third world title feud.
That's right. That's right.
That's funny. I'm funny. Next we get a Shida Storm promo package. Shida talks about winning the women's title at Double or Nothing 2020. I thought it was Revolution. My mistake. She did challenge for it at Revolution though, so I was half right. Which was the first pay-per-view without fans, and she wanted to share her moment with the fans, but she couldn't, and she will be the champion again. And Storm says she respects Shida for putting in the work during the pandemic, and she was the best of that era. But now they have the Outcast, and she's the greatest AEW Women's Champion, and she'll walk out and still. I love Toni Storm so much.
So I'll give you what my notes were in the moment, right? Not knowing the results of the match later. So I think Shida's awesome. I missed her when she's not around. And I really hope she wins the title and we just forget about the Outcasts altogether and Shida can go in some other direction completely. But I highly doubt that happens. At this point, I'm assuming Toni Storm retains and we keep this nonsense going.
Well, yeah, because didn't she beat Shida on... It was like the Holiday Bash at the end of last year, and it was a great match. But
and it just feels like
it's a random one too.
Yeah, that Shida hasn't.
That's what
really
I don't like about this.
Been built.
I'll talk about it again later, but I just don't like how it wasn't built up at all.
Not at all.
Especially for two talented women, where you could do a build on.
And their build is Shida's back around, and she's a perennial top tier. That's it.
Yeah, she's always not a lot going. She's always in the title orbit, right?
But yes, I like Shida a lot.
I thought this was solid though. I thought both of them sounded good. There was a nice history lesson from Shida. I like what she said because it's probably a common sentiment of that time was about wanting the title win with the fans, but she couldn't get it. Now it can be corrected. I like that. That's a
Drew McIntyre story of his life.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
He hasn't. I don't think he's won any titles since then. Since then, he hasn't really.
The champion of empty void. That guy.
Yeah. But I like what Sheeta was saying. It's like something you can empathize with, and I thought it was cool. So
Yep.
I liked it.
Me too.
Next we get Trent versus Penta El Zero Miedo versus Jonathan Moxley in an Anything Goes match.
Some bit of madness this match was, my goodness.
Just a nice little bit of madness. I like that, and I think they did this with a few other people too. They did it with the Elite for sure, but for each of their entrances, we got like picture-in-picture packages showing their Dynamite history, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
I like that.
Yep.
Obviously for Trent, it was like the parking lot brawl. I don't remember what they showed for.
And it was just a nice something little different to honor the 200 episodes, right?
I really
just
like
a little
stuff like
smart
that.
way to do that, I think.
Penta cracked Mox with a trash can, and then he cracked Trent with a trash can lid. That was nice. Gotta have the trash cans in there.
You do.
That.
And then that's where NXT matches stop. Trash cans, that's it. And this one does not stop there. I'll say that much.
No, it does not. There's a trash can lid, shotgun knee strike to Penta from Trent.
That looked really good, yeah.
I like that. Also, the sound is nice too.
Yep.
Mox rakes Trent's face with the barbed wire bat, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Trent bloody.
Because Trent no have hair, Trent head bloody.
Very
instead
bloody.
Of face,
yes.
Head be blood too.
Yep.
There's a pile driver on the barbed wire bat from Mox to Trent, as you do as well. Trent hit Mox with a superplex to the outside through 2 tables. That was pretty nice.
I think they couldn't hit it any better than that.
Yeah, super clean break. I love
Looked
that.
great.
Avalanche Destroyer in the ring to Trent through a table from Penta.
Also looked great.
Then Mox spear Penta through another table in the corner. Just table spot spam.
Yes.
Not complaining, just saying. Mox powders Penta on thumbtacks for 2, as you do. Then when he obviously that didn't get the job done, then he X-plexes him on the tacks. Then he hits a cutter to Trent on the tacks. Then Trent hits Mox with a crunchy on the tacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Penta breaks the pin with a trash can. I think it's a trash can, yeah. It was either that or the lid. Pretty sure it was the can. Then there's a strike exchange, and the finish came when Mox hit Penta with a paradigm shift. Then Trent hit Mox with the shotgun knee, and he pins Penta for the win. Trent gets a win.
Super surprised. There were 2 outcomes on the show I was very surprised by. This was the first one.
It was. Then Mox attacked Trent, and then Claudio and Yuta came to join, but Cassie and Chuck meet them in the crowd. Brawl breaks out. Trent dives onto the pile ringside. We get an orange punch to Mox, and then after Chuck grabs a mic, says this didn't accomplish anything. So parking lot fight for Blackpool and Best Friends on Rampage.
Yeah.
Which we have to watch.
Mox really sold that Superman punch, eh? He was like staggering around with it. Really fun weapons match in the middle of a TV episode of wrestling, right? And I'm not always a huge weapons match guy, but I thought this was really fun.
It was a nice violent sprint.
And like I just looked it up because I was curious. 14 minutes felt about perfect, right? We got a couple really good table spots, lots of tacks going on, but still some wrestling and stuff too. And for me, a really surprising result, which I like. I just assumed Moxley's winning this, right? Like you look at these 3, how they've been presented generally, like I would be like, there's no way Trent's winning. So I like that he won. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I think it's actually worth seeking out for people who haven't seen it. I thought it was that entertaining. And I'm happy that AEW kind of threw Trent and Best Friends a bone here, because they do a lot of really good in-ring work and almost never win, right? So it's nice they found a way, and it's leading to a bigger match that should be awesome, too.
And it's weird that Blackpool haven't won either of these, because there was this and there's the tag one last week.
Yeah.
It's weird, because Lucha Bros winning is less weird, but Trent winning is weird.
Wishful thinking that this match brings us the return of Santana and Ortiz in tag team form, because it's their match.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want it to happen, because I miss those 2 together as a team. They're awesome.
I
don't know if they're still having problems or not. But
I would hope not at this point.
But that's just me fantasy booking that they somehow get involved in this.
Yeah, I miss. Oh God, they were so good.
They're awesome.
They could totally take the tag titles from FTR too. I mean, I made a pitch later on for
and
Aussie
they've both
Open,
gotten in amazing shape, and everything seemed to be like.
And they're
got so injured. Good.
It's been over a year now.
Yeah.
I thought he was returning soon, but.
But anyway, sorry. I like this match. I thought it was cool.
It was pretty sweet for a TV match. I thought it was a car crash kind of match and like a sprint, and I thought it was good for that. Short one, but they definitely made most of the time. A lot of table spots, but that's okay. Those are cool. Of course, we had to add some thumbtacks again. That was pretty brutal. Also cool. Post match was short and sweet. It didn't drag on. And it set up something finally worth tuning in for on Rampage.
Yeah, we'll check that out. I think, right?
Parking lot fight 2. Electric Boogaloo sounds awesome.
It does.
as well as Anna Jay versus Sky Blue.
Slightly less.
Yeah, I saw there was a Kingdom package.
Yes.
So I think it's Adam Cole related because
they used to be together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because remember they said something to Roddy.
They did.
Next weekend, RVD
which I think
interview.
they should have Anyways, we'll get to it, but they because that's a pretty deep cut. Not a lot of people are gonna know that Cole was in Kingdom. Like I could forget that, and I was very aware of it.
I don't know why I know that.
Right, but anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Next there was a quick RVD interview. He said he heard Jack running his mouth and says next week he wants to challenge him for the FTW title. Better ask Tony Khan. He says once he wins the title, he's thinking he'll retire it because he does that so many times. Then he does his taunt, and that was it.
I actually thought he sounded pretty comfortable here, and I'm going to straighten something out here. He takes a lot of heat for terrible promos in WWE, and I don't disagree with that. He wasn't that bad in ECW where he could be more risque and everything could be like weed references and stuff. He was actually kind of cool. And then he got to WWE where it's PG and he was just like out of his element, right? So it's not that he's terrible on the mic, he's terrible in WWE. So I actually thought this was fine.
Yeah, he sounded fine. I just don't like it.
I agree. I'm not really interested, but I thought he sounded okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he doesn't.
And the title retirement reference was funny because he retired belts in 2002.
Which, again, is kind of a deep cut for a lot of people that won't. You know what I mean?
Also begs the question why he's here, because this is over 2 decades later.
Correct.
Just saying. Don't really care to see him wrestle at all, but it's happening, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I hope it's not all in.
I think it will be.
If you think I'd want to pay for that, then you're joking.
That's what I'll be paying for. I don't know how I feel about paying for 2 pay-per-views like week after each one. Mm-hmm. Sorry, a week apart.
Maybe but stream all in then, because we'll miss it anyways.
Yeah, maybe. We could.
If
That's a good idea, actually.
If we don't want to buy both. I mean, we'll buy both like law-abiding citizens. We always do. Like how we watch the Great American Bash on the network like we're supposed to.
Listen, I'll admit, I nefarious means WWE stuff, despite the fact that I pay for their service. Because in Canada,
I brought it up.
It is ridiculous to try and use it. Go listen to any other Canadian wrestling podcast. They're all complaining about the same thing, that they have messed up the network in this country. And it is now easier for me to go and watch it through other means than to use the app I pay for.
They're definitely not fixing it.
So it's a Anyway, sorry. I could talk about that all the time.
I brought it up. Next
lit the fuse.
Yeah, lit the fuse. I think that's the beginning of the Dynamite theme.
Nice.
Next we hear from MJF, and he's getting cheered, which is always a weird thing.
He is.
He said it sounds like we have some devil worshippers in the house. Then he started talking about how he has ADD. Fans chanted ADD. That just that's a little weird. And he said he also struggled with rejection while saying he had a disorder.
Yeah,
was
it rejection something? Yeah, some other disorder.
Must have sucked with his fiance then.
Right.
Boom. Got him.
Basically, that he takes rejection very, very hard. Right.
I didn't know that was a thing.
To a clinical degree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He said that life would be more difficult for him with, would be more difficult without RSD. I feel like it would be more difficult with it. Whatever. MJF talked about all the things that have happened to him, like when he was bullied, cheated on, and other things. He would call kids throwing quarters at him and telling him, Jew boy, in air quotes, to pick him up. He said that it made him think that everybody was an evil scumbag, so led to him thinking he had to stab everybody in the back before they stabbed him in the back. He said he realized that is no way to live. He said that he ended up being a scumbag himself. He said getting people to boo him is easy, and being a scumbag is easy. He said it was hard to open himself up to be emotional, and he spoke about how he's not scared anymore. He said he's not scared anymore because of each and every one of the fans.
Oh.
And he told the fans they taught him they do care about him, and that they have sympathy for the devil.
Got it.
Nice. MJF admitted he's still a scumbag, but goddamn it, he's ready to be your scumbag. And then they got that chant going.
Yep.
Which is nice. And they also have the shirt on the website. If you want to buy the shirt on the website,
you can buy it on the website.
The website has
not our
shirt.
website.
Not our website. It would be that'd be a step too far if we had a website.
That's what we should have, because then you could like write content and put it up too. Because I think you'd like to write
have
stuff.
A website. I think we just have to buy a domain. And that's it.
And we post our stuff there.
I just need to wait for one of my YouTube people to do a sponsor again, or see if any of the deals, because the one guy I watch on YouTube all the time, because they usually like the commentary channels, they usually have a sponsor, right? It's like a lot of times it's like HelloFresh or something. Or
Not whatever. Us, free everything all the time. No ads, no sponsors.
Come and give it to me.
No Patreon, no nothing. It's all free.
Imagine starting a Patreon at this stage.
No.
But anyways, he used to, like, one of the regular ones was Squarespace, which is one of the website ones. So
redesign your own.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to do that. That'd be interesting.
It would be. We should look into it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Make a note. Anyways, get through AEW, man.
MJF introduced Adam Cole. He said he said Adam taught him that even Maxwell Jacob Freeman, the Devil, deserves a friend, and he did a big introduction for Adam Cole. Then he came out and he said MJF continues to impress him every day. He said that it's not just because MJF is one of the best pro wrestlers in the world at a young age, but it's because of the man that MJF is becoming. He said he wanted MJF to know that he was not alone. And he said for years he was a jerk as well. He said he did it because he was afraid and he didn't understand what it meant to be a man. He said Max is becoming the man that he is meant to be. He said that Max, he told Max that the fans believe there's a good guy in there. So Adam said he's proud of MJF and the fans are proud of him too. MJF said he made Cole a promise that no matter what happened in the match with FTR, he'd give him a shot at the title. He said he came to the conclusion that Cole doesn't deserve a match. And he said,
what?
And then he grabbed the contract
Not a match.
And said he doesn't deserve any match. He said he wanted to give him the match in the main event of All In at Wembley Stadium and the biggest show in wrestling history, or whatever they're calling it.
Said it was main event. We'll see.
Yeah. And MJF handed Cole the contract, told him to sign it. He didn't read it, and he signed it. And then they hugged.
Oh, interesting. That could be a thing. And then they hugged.
They hugged.
And then we saw a thing where he stabbed. Adam Cole did a stabbing motion similar to he did with Roddy Strong, apparently. So the conspiracy theories are out there already.
The conspiracy runs deep.
But yeah, I mean, this was more good stuff from these two. It was long, right? But it was entertaining the entire time because it's so good. It kind of feels like they both really do like each other, but you assume each is going to screw the other one over. And if you're still just waiting for the other shoe to drop, but they seem to be getting more and more fond of each other the longer it goes.
Good, because it's so layered, and it's just like it's kind of messing with you. Like,
so do you think that this was the plan the whole time, or has it been extended because of the chemistry? I don't think. I think this sounds a weird way.
I don't work on it. Get there.
Sorry, what did I say? I don't think.
I think
that they thought that Cole.
So you don't think that you think that they thought.
Right.
Okay.
Follow that.
Okay, I think.
That they thought that Cole MJF was going to be the main event at All In. I think they're adjusting to how well this is going.
I would be inclined to think so as
and
well.
That's nothing against Adam Cole, but I don't think they think without this be going so well, he's the guy.
This being the plan, and I could see that being possible, but I could also see them adapting to it, because they're much better at adapting than certain other promotions, one in particular maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see them just adapting to it, and I think that makes, because this is over, and obviously the ratings.
Yeah, it's super interesting to watch.
It's like an actual draw too.
And MJF worked really hard to establish himself here as a baby face with all the stories of bullying and all the.
I like that because I thought this was like a much more plausible story than some of these told before. Because remember, like, there's the one with the car.
It's more of his origin story, right? Basically, he's like, yes, I've done awful things, but it's because I was traumatized as a young person.
I think it's interesting because you could also have it like with the origin story, because there's so many stories.
He's already gone through a bunch, which some of them
are
forget.
Bound to be fake, right?
Right.
And I feel like it could be a thing. Like, I watch this one girl on YouTube does like timelines of shows. So like there's a lot of Family Guy ones, and because obviously Family Guy, it's like nothing really matters. So it's not like, I think the word serialized, where it's not like there's not like continue things going on. So like Peter's like got like a bunch of different origins or something, and like which one you want to believe is kind of up to you. Like his ancestors, there's one where like, there's like a black version of him, like, like there's a bunch of random. So I feel like MJF could, like, you wouldn't be crazy for thinking he's doing a similar thing where like there's a bunch of stories and it's like each story serves a purpose in that scenario.
Yes.
And you don't know what's real. Now, this could have a sense of realism to it. It could be an entirely fake sympathy ploy.
Yep.
And like his villain origin story, you could pull from a bunch of different directions. You don't know which one to actually go with. So I feel like his origin story is probably just a web of like nonsense, right? So I think that's kind of interesting. But I like these stories because it's, whether it's real or not, it is working and getting sympathy from the crowd. And I think it's good because it's like plausible is the word.
And then
right?
Cole,
it's realistic.
Cole, knowing all this, comes across as the really supportive friend, right? So, and then because of that, MJF's rewarding him with this humongous match, right? So, I don't know. I'm really interested. I thought the first match they had was awesome, so I think this one should be too. And then, did you even mention the Roddy stuff? I didn't catch it.
No, not yeah. He was angry at the end, and then
smashing stuff in his neck brace right after.
And then Kingdom said, "Cole, no,
he abandons people,
Cole forgets his friends or whatever."
Which is in the Kingdom because he used to be involved with them, right? So I'm enjoying even like the little Roddy bits at the end of each one in the neck brace are something I look forward to as well. So this whole thing's working for me.
Yeah, the whole story's been super entertaining. So I thought this was a great segment, and the title match will be a nice payoff. I would assume that's the payoff or something like that. MJF's an all-time wrestling villain. He's also so great working the crowd and loving him. To the untrained eye, he's a hot babyface here, and in a way, he is. But we all know he's surely working Cole, or he's working some sort of angle. There's always an angle with him, right? So he is a babyface here, but he's also not. It's like kind of Cody. He's a heel, but he's not at the same time, right? I think that, but this is much more intentional and much better, obviously. But like, you know what I mean? He's great at being a babyface even when he's really not, because you know it's going to crack at some point. You know it's not last month. He's never staying a babyface. It's never like, I think even in this segment where he is super babyface, I don't think he's ever a true babyface. And I think that's part of why MJF's so great, is because even when like he did a similar thing in the Mox feud, he does such a great job of making babyface, but then he does such a great job of making himself like a babyface and getting over as hell and super popular. He gets when he wants to be a babyface, he's cheered a lot. But then I'm also here sitting here saying, but he's still a villain underneath. Like he's got layers to it. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at that. He makes you like him a lot as a babyface, but you still know he's a villain that's going to crack eventually.
And that's when we say a lot on here, like predictable doesn't mean bad.
No.
And you know where you're going to end up, but as long as the ride there is enjoyable and entertaining and engaging, which it is, right? So yeah, he's great.
Yeah. An interesting thing to note is that obviously Cole didn't read the contract and he just signed it, and MJF smiled, and I thought that was a bit of a trademark MJF.
That, but yeah, that's probably we'll circle back around.
I feel like he could be plotting something within there that we don't know yet. I don't know what that could entail. The only thing I could possibly think of is like, if Cole loses, he gets ousted, and then MJF like wouldn't have to worry about him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of thing. I don't know what else they could put in there. Or like they could do a Cody stipulation where he can't challenge for the belt, something like that.
I could see that.
I don't know. That'll be interesting, something to look out for. And then also what you noted with when he had his hand fisted in the backstab and the hug. So that is also interesting. I like this because it's like dropping hints that they could both turn. It's breadcrumbing both of them.
Yep.
Kind of potentially turning. I like that because the general rule of thumb is that MJF turns.
Yeah,
right?
you would think,
because that's how he operates. But I liked even the tease that Cole could turn, because that's possible. While I don't think that's what will happen, I like that it's an option.
It is a believable option.
It's something to
with
consider.
him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just think it'd be weird for MJF to be actually babyface in a feud. Next we get a really weird match, which is the Elite versus Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. Which that is a weird choice. Some notables from the match. Young Bucks, they took out Lethal and then Jarrett. Then Satnam tags in a face off with Matt. They do their best to take them down to take Satnam down to no avail. Then he hits a running crossbody to the Bucks.
He lies down on them.
Then the heels mock the Elite's entrance pose. Omega got a hot tag flurry later on. Bucks countered Lethal injection attempt, and then they hit Lethal with a double super kick. Then one to Jarrett. Then a series of super kicks and a V-trigger takedown Satnam Singh. Omega goes to loop them for a one-winged angel, but while Kieran Jarrett distracts the ref, Sanjay Dutt came in and attacked him. Then Lethal hit a double lethal injection to the Bucks. Then Brandon Cutler cold sprayed Kieran Jarrett, and the Hardys attacked Sanjay Dutt. Bucks Hardys next week, by the way.
Right.
Amazing. On Rampage, it's Bucks Hardys.
So won't watch that match probably.
No, Bucks Hardys on Dynamite.
Oh, on Dynamite.
So they announced on Rampage, so we have to watch it. I'm just warning you, just so you know.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Then Jarrett went for a guitar shop. Omega Ducks. Hangman came in just out of nowhere with a buckshot to Jarrett, which that's cool. Then one win Angel to Lethal for the win. And then it amused me. Nick was just like playing along on Jarrett's guitar to Carry On Wayward Son in celebration after that. That amused me.
Yep.
I like that. And just reminded me of I miss douchebag Nick from the heel elite days.
Mm-hmm.
He was just such an annoying prick, and I loved it so much. I loved when they did like the intentionally annoying, because remember he had like the fake brunette hair, and it just like it's so slightly off. It was annoying. They had like the handlebar mustache, or the one time they did like pink mustaches or whatever. Like
they changed their look almost every week.
Yeah, they like shaved their faces.
More and more ridiculous like headbands and bandanas and tassels.
Heel Bucks were so good. Oh, I love that. That was a good era. See, nostalgia again. God
exactly.
Damn it. That was awesome though. Yeah, I was thinking like I love the Elite. They work as baby faces, and they are also great as heels. So
I don't want to like Matt and Nick, and I'm pretty sure if I met them and got to know them, I wouldn't like them. But I pretty much enjoy it.
Oh, because I just think where they're from.
I don't know. I just get the sense I wouldn't like them. I don't really know, but Kenny's cool, good Canadian boy probably, but I don't know.
That's
the rest
fair.
We'll see.
I love them though. But I do miss douchebag Nick. And then the Elite were just saying a quick thing about resigning. And Hangman said, "Here's to the next 200 Dynamites."
Yep.
And then Omega said, interesting enough, whether it be Dynamite, ROH, Rampage, or even Collision.
Oh, he said it. That place where that guy is.
The place where that guy is. Who is that guy? We don't speak of him. We'll be seeing more of the Elite. Then he does the signature sign-off thing that he does. Yeah,
I like honestly considering some of the players involved in this, that being Satnam Singh,
Jeff Jarrett,
and Jarrett. I thought this was pretty entertaining, right? And you had lots of interference and stuff towards the end that kind of protects Jarrett and Singh because they can't do a lot. And Singh honestly does not look ready to wrestle.
He is so bad.
Even the selling. And then like Omega and whichever of the Bucks running away because they don't want to tag in and face him, like I guess, right? But anyways, and I just like Lethal deserves better than this, right? Like we were enjoying him.
I thought he was like a good hand.
Exactly.
Like he was perfectly serviceable on the roster, but but like I thought like as like low quote unquote of a purpose that is, and like as it's not looked upon super favorably, I thought like he was useful, and I think that's like the best thing you can say, and like not to be demeaning, but he just like he had a purpose.
He was getting good matches out of everybody, and he didn't need to win. Yeah. Right? You need those guys. But anyways, I this kind of over delivered. I thought it was kind of fun, and they worked hard to not have Singh and Jarrett do too much, which is a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun enough. I guess the Elite on the show, which I had no issue. Just wish they had more interesting opponents for a more appealing match.
For sure.
I don't know who you could put in, but I said I would much rather Spanish Announce Project, which isn't much of anything. But this was fine, or for what it was. It wasn't all bad. It was just okay. I already knew, but glad the Elite are staying. Figured they would, but just God to know for sure. And Omega T's Collision, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next we get Swerve and AR Fox. There was.
I wasn't expecting this segment. Tell you what.
There's a brief bit of them. They're talking to camera, just like explaining AR Fox's, what was it? Reasonings, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
How Darby didn't call him, or he said that Fox is responsible for Darby Allin. Without him, there's no Darby Allin. But he didn't even give him a call when he came in, and he didn't really talk to him for like 5 years until Fox showed up here.
And then I think also playing into that is Darby went out of his way to tout Nick Wayne and get him signed and all this, right? And Fox is like, because that's part of that story too, right?
Like that. If that's
right, like you ignore me for 5 years. Right, when I let you live with me.
And then that can also translate to a grudge with Nick Wayne, which
explains why they're kind of attacking him, because he's tied close to Darby, and he's looking at.
And I think it could be like, obviously, like now with what you're saying, I think it could be some like jealousy, right? I think the word I'm looking
that
for.
You don't call
right?
me for 5 years when you're working with AEW and you're becoming
and
a
Nick
big
Wayne's
star
the
with
one
them.
that gets Darby's help and not
you
him.
go and make sure you get him signed.
A kid that did like I guess in his a kid that did nothing for Darby.
So that's why I kind of like
yeah,
this.
okay, I like that. And so TJ didn't mention that, so I had to talk about that part. But then they went I'm so good. I'm fine.
It's
I'm
like
fine.
6 times he's hit his laptop. If you have heard it, I apologize, but he refuses to move it for some reason.
I just did. Okay, now it's only hanging off a little bit.
Okay.
So then Swerve and Fox went to the Buddy Wayne Academy, which is like the shed with the ring and his yard or whatever. And so he was training with people. So Fox just threw a skateboard at the one guy.
Yep.
That was pretty nice. They beat up the other guys and took him out.
It looked pretty violent. I liked it. It looked vicious.
Nick was left alone with Swerve and Fox. Swerve hit Nick with what I thought was like a bat or something. Nope. Glass picture frame.
Smashed a glass picture. Looked good.
That was awesome.
A lot of blood.
Then he showed the cameraman, which was Nana, I think, the photo of Nick with his late dad. Then he put it on the apron, quote, where you found out your daddy left you.
That was savage.
That was brutal.
Awesome.
Then Nick was a bloody mess. Like he was beat red. It looked pretty gnarly. Then they made Nick unlock his phone. They called Darby. And so he thought it was Nick, obviously, but then Fox was like, nah, it's AR Fox. Then Swerve was saying something about like, he was like, look how easy it was to make a phone call, but you couldn't call AR Fox.
Right.
I like that. That was a cool line, heel logic. And they said that the ghosts of his past and they're here to haunt him, like that too. And he said it's just the beginning. And they left Nick Wayne in a pool of his own blood, quite literally.
Yeah, so I thought this was really cool.
I love this so much.
So I will say that the "you never called me" is a wrestling trope that gets used a lot, but in this situation, especially with the Nick Wayne stuff and all of that, worked really well. And I've been waiting to talk about this because you know when you have like an opinion or a take that you're proud of. So this is mine, okay? So I'm gonna compare this, and I like this comparison quite a bit. So let's compare.
Is this your own thought?
Yes, this is my own thought. I've heard it nowhere else. Swerve and his affiliates,
okay,
right? And we're gonna compare them to Tony D'Angelo and the family. So, do you know how I always complain that it's too cartoonish, right? That basically it's just
even
over the top accents
right?
and like eating in Italian restaurants and the whole
even like when you remember he was doing the meetings with Legato
and throwing them in the trunks of cars and implying you're throwing people in the river and stuff like that, right? So. Very cartoonish and like strongly implied hints of violence, but not actually so much because it's NXT. I mean, they use crowbars and whatnot. So that's the cartoon. Versus, to me, what I think Swerve feels like
real gangster
is a comic book where it's grittier and it's more mature and more realistic, right? But it's still like he's a freaking supervillain, basically, right? Like he's just gonna show up and beat up everybody in your place and cut your head open with the glass picture, and taunt you for your dead father and stuff, right? So to me, it's like he's a cool, dark comic supervillain, and Tony D'Angelo's like a cartoon character, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay. So like Pattinson Batman, which is like the gritty, like. Swerve is the Riddler from last year's Batman.
Sure.
And Tony D'Angelo is Jim Carrey Riddler.
Right. Right?
See, I got stuff too.
And so the dark comic book, like, supervillain is cool and works, and you're not insulting my intelligence and, like, treating me like a tween. Right? So I really, really like this, and I
loved it.
Swerve is awesome, and
I gotta remember
let's
this
see
for
where they
segment
go.
Of the year consideration. This was sweet.
So there's the take I was proud of.
Nice.
Not bad, right?
That reminds me, you gotta watch the new Batman still.
Yeah, probably.
I think you'd really like it because you like Batman.
I do.
Yeah, so you would probably like it. We gotta watch it sometime. It's 3 hours, but it's awesome.
That's asking a lot.
It's okay. It's it's like you're watching it every week, and it's also not run by Vince McMahon.
True.
So
as far as you know,
it's okay. Don't. Oh God, I would hope not.
Talk about Swerve.
This is awesome. I thought the first bit was pretty good. I like Fox's reasoning. It's straightforward but makes sense, and I think Nick Wayne's involvement adds another interesting and understandable layer to it.
Yes.
The animosity and jealousy towards him and Darby kind of combined. It works.
And you can go tag matches. You can mix in. You know what I
I'm
mean?
envisioning a no DQ tag for maybe All In. I don't know. I think these guys could have, because AEW does a good like
Swerve Darby All In is what I'd really like.
Yeah.
in like a 25-minute.
I'd be okay with these 4 going
Me
nuts
too.
because not like
You might need a tag match
I
in
would
the
say
card somewhere.
is All Out after? Okay, maybe you could do Swerve Darby All In and then do a tag match at like whichever pay-per-view is second. I would do the tag
I think it's
match.
All In and All Out.
So we're going in and out.
I believe so.
Okay, that makes sense. But like I would do then what you're saying, Swerve and Darby All In, because give them that stage, and then I would do the tag match out. We'll assume is All Out, but whatever the second pay-per-view is.
But normal wrestling progression is from tag to singles.
That's usually for title matches, though.
I guess.
I think just because they have a feud, I think you can, and I think the tag match you do some no holds barred one, it would go off. This would just be nuts. Anyways, back to this. I love this so much. It was awesome. The Wayne Academy Vision was pretty sick. And sick as in cool, and sick as in like they were sick for doing that.
Swerve is just so believable.
I love Swerve so much.
AR Fox not quite as much. He's doing fine.
I think.
But Swerve, it's like you are this guy.
Yeah,
somehow,
I think
right?
Fox will get there, and
he's great.
I think he's believable enough for now, and I think he'll get there too, and I think Swerve will elevate him. When he hit him with the picture frame, that was sweet. I didn't expect it.
No, me either.
Frame.
The satisfying shattering of it.
Oh yeah, that
great.
was awesome. Or when Fox threw the skateboard at the guy. And Nick was like bloody as hell. Like that looked awesome. When he laid the picture on the apron, that was laughing because like it was so brutal. It just like
because he said in Nick Wayne's thing, right? That's where he sat, where he was told his dad was gone.
That was just
so that was a nice callback.
That was
cold as hell.
That was cold. That was next level.
Yeah.
And the phone call to Darby, I thought was really cool. Like that. This was all just so cool. Just Swerve is just the coolest guy ever.
Yep.
And this is the character work he can do. Like he is world champion material.
He is.
You just got to give him a shot.
Top heel.
I think
your company,
NXT,
in any company,
even in NXT when he was North American title, that should have been him able to show some of his potential. But they didn't even give him a shot when they had that because he didn't defend it until the night he lost it. Remember?
And clearly, he is what made that group cool.
Oh yeah,
whatever they were called.
Right. I couldn't give a crap about that.
They were so cool.
They were awesome in NXT.
And then
I think part of that is obviously Triple H because I think he knows how to let them do that better than obviously on main roster. But I think the main element is that obviously Swerve made that cool because that faction just has died without Swerve.
I mean,
it just doesn't work.
BFAB being the ring general she was helped as well.
Oh yeah, BFAB.
She's an all-timer. She had some all-time.
Let's run it back with her and Lopez.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, this was awesome. It just did a great job of making Swerve just a super villain, and Fox made Fox better by association.
Mm-hmm.
This is just awesome. This is one of those segments I love so much, and I do think we need to remember this for the end of the year. This is like kind of like a Buck Hunt, one of those things you got to remember, you know?
Oh, I love that.
Buck Hunt's awesome. But yeah, these two versus Darby and Wayne would just be amazing because Darby and Wayne are awesome. I love these two guys as well. I would love for them to just go balls out in a no DQ match. That would be insane. Or whatever you want to throw them in something because I just picked on paper. That sounds so appealing because I think Nick Wayne is impressed in the one match he had. Darby's awesome. Fox is sweet in the ring, and Swerve is Swerve.
Yep.
Need I say more?
Exactly.
Next we get, speaking of tag teams I love very much and dearly, Aussie Open. They're next. I love Aussie Open. They're taking on El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander, who at least had matching ring gear, so I respect that.
Yep. They did it. Actually, I don't know. It helped a lot to picture them as like a cohesive tag team. I don't know if it's like such a little thing, but it honestly like
it does help.
Helps a lot for me.
Yeah. And so I'm really happy to see Aussie Open here. I'm a big Aussie Open fan. Love them. And the first defense of the titles, I believe. So that is Coolio.
Definitely a contrast in styles, right? Here you've got two small guys, like because Fletcher is the smaller of Aussie Open, and he is far, far bigger than Vikingo.
And he's stronger than people would give him credit for.
He is, yeah.
Vikingo did that corkscrew head scissors, remember? That was
ridiculous. Like, okay, just do a normal head scissors. No, I'm gonna like
do a weird like corkscrew flip into it. It's nuts.
Like a tornillo into a head scissors from standing, right? Like
it's absurd. He's nuts.
He's a special talent, man. Like he does stuff other people can't do. And he rarely screws up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much of his character work. I from what I know, from what I've seen, it's like probably lackluster. But obviously he's probably more comfortable in Mexico, so I don't know what he does outside of just being the Viking kind of thing.
And I've only barely seen him in like MLW and stuff.
Right, but in ring he's
I think
absurd.
He is.
He's absurd. Davis had Commander Fireman's carry. He dropped him in a kick from Fletcher. Then they did the over the shoulder setup in the middle rope cutter. For two,
so many seamless tag team moves.
I love that combination of moves too. Yeah, the Aussie opener is so clean. Commander jumped off of Vikingo's back to Destroyer to Fletcher, which he sold perfectly. Then Vikingo hit a crucifix bomb to Davis. They climbed up on the top rope together, and I thought they were gonna do it, but then I was like, no, that wouldn't work. But then they did a double 450, like they 450'd, because that's a verb.
It is.
They did it to Davis at the same time, so that was interesting. Fletcher broke the pin at 2. And eventually Aussie Open got the one. They did like the clothesline from both sides, and then the Coriolis. That's a really cool move. I like it a lot.
Yeah, this considering there was no story going into this, right? But everybody's super talented in this, so this was a really good match. Aussie Open, just so many fast, seamless, impactful tag team maneuvers, right? They're just
they work so well. I love
so
them,
fun, and
so much.
I thought Vikingo and Commander looked awesome together too. Like the complementary gear, lots of tandem offense.
Styles
didn't look like a new tag team, right? Like it looked like, and I think
as far as cobbled together teams go, they worked really well.
Yeah, I thought so. So a predictable outcome, obviously, but really fun. Two really different styled teams, right? And I think Vikingo and Commander, like, they could work as a tag team in AEW, because I don't think there's a lot for them in singles sort of stuff, so they could keep working together.
Yeah, I would keep throwing them in like any of the multi-man tags or battle royals, or if you want to do something like this again.
Really, really good tag team TV match. Solid defense for the champs, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good TV match, really fun. It was as good as I would expect, in a good way. Always happy to see Aussie Open pop up on Dynamite. I doubt they'll be used much, being just ROH champs. But I hope we do get more of them. Just because now they're signed, so now we can get more of them. Because Ospreay, I understand, like, he won't pop up all the time, but like obviously, then you make the most of him when he's there.
Right.
But with them being signed, I hope we get a lot more out of them, because I love them a lot. They're so good.
I don't think I'll get tired of watching them.
They're so great. Their tag offense is just so fluid. They can just string stuff together constantly, and like, I wouldn't even mind like Fletcher getting another solo shot at a match or something.
Oh, that was a good match.
I loved that match so much. Yeah, they were great. I'm just putting it out there. I think they would be a good pick to dethrone FTR. Whenever the time comes.
That'd be a big match.
I would be okay with them holding double belts.
And that's one thing I'm happy about Collision, is it is really making FTR feel like it's a Punk FTR show, basically. It feels like.
At least it's giving FTR stuff to do.
The way we've always said they need to be have an epic run as champions, and just like.
So they're facing Big Bill and Brian Cage.
Right.
But
anyway.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, they're not British, but you could throw them on All In and have them face a FTR, because it's close enough. I'm just saying.
You could for sure.
I'm not saying they got to win the titles there, but
yep,
I would love Aussie Open FTR. That would go hard.
That would be sweet.
We already saw that. What was it, right? I think it was at the One New Japan show, but I'm going to pretend I didn't see it.
Right.
And I'm just going to say I want anyways. Now, obviously, with you throwing the Proud and Powerful thing in my mind, I would like them to win the titles too. But if I had to pick, I would maybe pick Aussie Open over them, because Aussie Open, because they haven't had as much of a shot as, I mean, to be fair, Proud and Powerful haven't done much either. But anyways, I saw Aussie Open. That's the point.
Right.
Anywho, there was a lot of cool offense here. I enjoyed Vikingo and Commander too. They actually,
they were good.
They worked really well.
And Commander did some new stuff, which I think he needed to do.
Yeah. And solid win for Aussie Open here. Is hoping for more. I would like for them to pop up every now and then. I don't care if they have ROH belts or AEW belts. I just want to see Aussie Open. Also, I love their theme song very much. I would like a full entrance next time, please.
Sure.
Maybe give them the opener and they can have a full entrance. That would be nice.
You got it.
Next we got CM Punk Ricky Starks package for the Collision match for the quote-unquote Real World Championship. I didn't take notes on this. I didn't write any opinion on this. You can talk if you want.
So
I didn't.
I get that Punk's doing the I don't really mind the whole Xing out the belt stuff. It's basically, when people come back in the heels or baby faces, I guess, will be like, I never technically lost the title, so I should be a contender.
Yeah, or that's like
he's just taking that to another level as a heel. So
Is he a heel?
That's my other question. What's the heel face dynamic in this match?
Okay, so
I'm not sure.
From
Starks and Punk.
Punk's perspective, Punk face, Starks heel.
Right.
From what I think, I would also be inclined to agree with that. Not to agree that Punk's a face, because I hate him, but to agree that Starks has had the heel tendencies again lately.
Yes.
So I would think Starks is a heel.
So at
least right now.
The only thing that's
not fully though. Sorry.
That's okay. That's really bothering me about Punk and the title is that MJF has nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
Right? That I know he's busy and whatever, but the fact that he wouldn't have an issue with a guy going, I'm the real champion. Like MJF would stop what he's doing almost, right?
Yeah. Well, more than anyone, yeah.
So I don't love that.
That's true.
But
yeah, because ever since the whole revealing, I think part of me is I think the X looks stupid because my friend, he was at that collision actually. My American Xbox friend, he was there, and just like the picture he had of Punk holding up, the belt looks so dumb from a distance because all you see is just the shape of the belt with because you can't see any of the fine details, so it's just a big X on there. It looks dumb.
So
right?
him going that route doesn't feel babyface though, right? Like the babyface thing is you come back and go, I want my rematch.
I want the thing I never lost. Blah blah blah. Right.
Not I'm building my own belt and calling it
spray
the real,
painting
and
it.
it's the real belt.
When has a babyface ever spray painted a belt? Trey did it. He was a heel. NWO did it. They were a heel. Like you know what I mean. But I agree with that too. I didn't think about it, but because besides it being Punk, something that's kind of bothered me about it. But yeah, I think MJF would like. Not only is he uber like he's the world champion, he's the best, but it's Punk, someone he's had immense hatred for.
Right.
He had a dog collar match with him. Like if he was gonna be mad about anybody claiming to be having a claim to have to be the world champion, he would be mad about being Punk.
Like he can go. Punk's there yelling about being I'm the real champ. This is the real champ, and MJF does nothing.
And MJF's buddy with Cole, which I love it. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I feel like not even to have a mention about it is weird because he could have mentioned it on Dynamite at least
like
once.
It's a separate universe he's not aware of.
That's the thing I don't like about Collision because I like all the focus on FTR and I like having Bullet Club Gold on there. I like a lot of things about it, but I don't like that it's created this like brand split,
almost
alternate universe kind of thing because it just like I don't like it. I'm feel like I'm out. I'm like out of the loop or on like Starks and.
Yes.
I feel like I like seeing Starks because I thought he's really great. I like seeing FTR and like I don't like having to go out of my way to like not just with the time slot, but you know what I mean. That's a factor as well. But just having to go so much work to watch like the FTR Bullet Club Gold match or whatever. Like I don't like that. It just feels so disconnected for being the same company.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just it feels disconnected for me. For me, that's weird.
Me too.
Anyways,
main event. Let's go.
Main event time, which is the women.
It is. That's
what
nice.
Do you know?
And two legit stars.
Yeah, lack of build.
Say what you will, lack of build for sure.
That's
but okay, main event getting a bit of time.
But it is a main event, yes. We got Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Championship.
We do.
Not interim. Good for Toni Storm.
Right.
Wait, no, it was Hater Shida on my mistake.
How dare you?
That was the good match that we liked.
Right.
But anyways, we've probably seen this before. Anyways, I don't like the lack of build here. That's the only really not great thing here. But there's a running knee lift from Shida with Storm lying on the apron. Later on, Storm hit the hip attack with Shida sitting on the apron. Then Storm distracted the ref for the Outcast to attack Shida. There's a running knee strike in the corner from Shida, then crowd count punches. Hip attack in the corner followed by a DT from Storm for a near fall. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a knee strike and a Falcon Arrow from Shida for a near fall as well. Saraya tosses the kendo stick in the ring. She tossed it in the middle again. I swear she's done that before, and it was weird. Anyways,
who's gonna get it?
Shida wrestled it from Storm. Storm tries to goad Shida into using it for the DQ, but she uses it to take out the Outcast instead.
Headshot, wasn't it?
One of them was, yeah. Hopefully to Saraya, but I don't think it was.
No, I don't think it was either.
Storm uses the spray paint behind the ref's back and then connects to Storm Zero for
and
a
surprising near fall. That's the most believable near fall ever, probably.
Because that's how she wins.
I was like, oh, it's over.
Time.
And I just expected Storm was winning anyways, so I thought this was it, honestly.
That's a good near fall.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and Shida won reversing a roll up.
Yeah, crazy.
Now she's held all 3 different versions of the AEW Women's title.
So I know that I think AEW's hand was kind of forced with Hayter's injury, and putting this title on Storm, but her run's been really uneventful, right? So I'm thrilled
that
they've sort of put it on Shida, and then they really tried with the Outcast, right? It just doesn't work. And I think maybe they know that, and it's time to go a different route, hopefully. And it's hopefully not just Tony Storm or another Outcast chasing this thing, because I don't want that. But I thought this was a good match. Not a great main event, but a good match for sure. I thought the final few minutes were the most interesting. Nice near falls, especially that Storm pile driver. I thought it was over, obviously. Sheeta got a lot of offense. Most of it looked really good. The pace wasn't super fast, but it was steady, right? And it is hard to care about any of the Outcasts, but I thought that this was a good match. And way ahead, unfortunately, of what we get on Dynamite, right? So way above average for that. Now I just think they really need to put some time into developing Sheeta as a character, right? That we can care about instead of she doesn't really have much going on. So
especially because she just kind of came out of the blue to win the title,
right?
And that's
and it's I'm a
happy
former
for her, but
her character's former champion, still really good.
And it was in the pandemic era, and I want to not be in the pandemic era.
But 2 matches on this show where I was legit surprised at the outcome, so I like that, right?
Yeah.
So I thought this was good. It was a good match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a solid match. I thought a little less so as a main event because it lacked the big fight feel, and for a big title change, I wish they built up to it more. It was still solid nonetheless. I'm happy for Sheeta. She deserves it, and the Outcasts are horrible. Some solid near falls in here and a surprising result. So I think it was good all in all. Just could have used more build up because I think these two could have done that. It's a Dynamite match for the women that would have been worth building to.
Yep.
And good for them on a women's main event though.
Agree. I like that. Overall, this was, I thought, a quite entertaining show. In ring, I liked the opening, basically jazz tag match. We'll call it that. So I liked that. The Anything Goes match I thought was awesome. The tag match with Aussie Open I thought was really good, and Commander and El Hijo, and I liked the main event. So that's like nothing that I'd say, oh my god, you have to see it, but I thought that was 4 entertaining matches. Then I loved the Swerve Strickland segment there with Nick Wayne attacking him. I really liked the MJF Cole. So 4 good matches and 2 really good segments. If one of the matches was just a little more awesome, so I'm gonna go B+. I thought this was a really good show.
I feel like last week was really close too.
Was it
last week? I think it was.
And so I really liked especially the tag match and the triple threat match this week.
Yeah, because Swerve Derby was last week, right?
Yeah, and 2 good segments. So that's a really entertaining show, I thought.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree. I thought it was a very nice show as well. Match-wise, the opener was okay. I think that's probably one match I would have liked to be better if we wanted to.
And I thought it was still fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, I just thought I would like something a lot gooder.
Gooder. Mm-hmm.
The Anything Goes match was really sweet. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought the trios match was perfectly fine. I would have liked something better still, but I thought it was fine, not bad by any means. The tag title match was pretty great. I thought I liked that a lot. And the women's main event was very nice and a cool result there. Segment-wise, I thought we got some really good ones. I thought MJF Cole was obviously really good
because it was.
They always deliver. I thought Swerve and AR Fox's segment was awesome and a pleasant surprise. That was just brutal. That might have been my favorite thing on the show. It was really great. The only main low points were probably any of the jazz stuff, and then the FTW, the RVD stuff that I just don't care for and I don't really want. But I also loved all the history of Dynamite bits and whatever. That was just a nice thing now throughout the show. And so yeah, I thought this was pretty good. And B+ is fair.
Yeah, good show.
I thought it was a good show and nice to look back on Dynamite. It was nice.
Liking a lot of the stuff going on Dynamite, so that's good.
Swerve.
All right, well, let's take a brief detour into the world of trivia. I've got some more SummerSlam trivia ready for you in a segment we like to call Off the Top of His Head. Okay, so it's not going to be AI generated this week because WWE.com has I think it's new because I don't remember seeing it, SummerSlam quiz actually from them. So you ready? I'm going to hit you with some questions there. Multiple choice.
Are they going to ask me about the main event of SummerSlam 2004?
No. So that...
You know what I'm talking about?
They might. No, what was that?
Benoit.
Oh, no, they will not ask you that. I thought you were referring to... Remember I told you what was the greatest ChatGPT trivia question of all time?
It was who Brock Lesnar beat at SummerSlam to end the streak. Undertaker's WrestleMania streak.
And the answer
Roman Reigns.
was Roman Reigns.
That might be my favorite thing an AI has ever said.
All right, ready? Which superstar defeated The Rock at SummerSlam 2002 to become new undisputed champion?
The guy who beat Roman Reigns to end the streak. Brock Lesnar.
Correct.
Brock Lesnar.
SummerSlam 1994 saw an Undertaker versus Undertaker match.
Yeah.
Who played the dead man's doppelganger?
I think I've heard this before, but I don't know.
Proper name? Don't know. Options?
I'm thinking Matt Bourne for some reason.
Brian Lee, Kane, Kevin Nash, Raja Lyon.
The last?
No, Brian Lee.
I don't know who that is.
Isn't it Chronic guy?
I thought he was Brian Adams.
Oh yeah, you might be right.
Oh, it accidentally made me Google Brian Leach. Brian Lee, American Professional Wrestler.
Here's a hard one.
Who is he? He's one of the Harris brothers. He's changed.
Oh.
Interesting.
So Don't Give Up by Kevin Rudolph was the official theme song for SummerSlam during which year? 2012, 2013, 14, or 15?
13?
12. You don't know anything.
Damn it.
You don't know anything about wrestling.
I was going to say 12, okay?
Only other city besides London to host SummerSlam outside the United States.
Toronto.
Correct. Easy one.
We got 2004 and 2019, baby.
True or false? Triple H has competed at SummerSlam the most times with a total of 13 matches.
True.
False.
Damn it.
Undertaker, 16.
Oh, that's where his WrestleMania streak came from.
That's it. The first WWE title change to take place at SummerSlam occurred in 1997 when Bret Hart defeated which superstar? Undertaker is correct.
Shawn was the ref. Wait, we said Bret won, right? Okay.
When Seth Rollins faced John Cena at SummerSlam 2015,
Jon Stewart.
They competed for the WWE Championship and which other title?
Damn it. I thought there was going to be something with Jon Stewart. U.S. title.
Correct. I wouldn't have got that one. I forgot that. At the inaugural SummerSlam, Miss Elizabeth removed this article of clothing to distract the referee.
I know it wasn't her bra, so it was her skirt.
It was her skirt. It's quite a departure for Miss Elizabeth, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
She was so innocent. At SummerSlam 2004, which superstar became the youngest world heavyweight champion ever at the age of 24? I know this one.
They did mention it. Randy Orton.
Yes,
Who'd he beat? Chris Benoit.
Nobody. We're not sure.
He was awarded the title.
Alundra Blaze retained her WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam 1994 against this woman.
Was this Nakano?
She is one of the options. That is the correct answer. Great hair.
Bertha Faye would have been the year after.
Great hair. Former UFC Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and the 4 horsewomen of MMA looked on from ringside at which year's SummerSlam?
I feel like it would be 2015.
That is not one of the options.
2014.
That is one of the options, and it is correct.
Yeah. They were probably watching Steph versus Brie Bella because that was the barn burner.
True or false? Alberto Del Rio is the only superstar to compete in the opening and closing matches at SummerSlam in 2011.
That is true, but that's kind of a cheap stat.
Why?
Cash in.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't count.
Counts.
It does not.
SummerSlam 2005, which superstar had 100 bills with his face on them rain down on the audience during his entrance?
I feel like that would have to be DiBiase.
It is not.
Del Rio?
It is not.
Who
but those are 2 of the 4 options.
At least I'm going through the option. Who else?
It makes total sense if you think of the time period and his gimmick.
Go
2005.
2005. Kennedy? JBL.
Correct.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
I knew you'd be like... Yeah.
Okay, that does make sense. Yeah.
Which superstar said just prior to his tag team bout at SummerSlam 2009, "You girls want a war, you got a war"?
Santino?
No. Jericho, Rhodes, JTG, or Triple H?
Jericho?
No. Trips.
Oh.
And that was the last one. You did well. I don't think we've done that one before.
I don't think so.
I just felt like it was an actual decent trivia that...
From WWE.
But we may go back to AI next week. But anyways, good job.
It's weird weird doing a legitimate one.
It is strange.
It doesn't feel right now.
No. But now we'll switch back to talking about more wrestling from the stuff we watched this week that we want to talk about. And we kind of cherry pick, and we still haven't figured out what the opposite of cherry pick would be. Cherries are the good things. What are we picking that's not good? Anyways, stuff we liked and didn't like. It's Highspots and Restholds. All right, starting on Monday night with Raw, you said you had one thing for us?
Yeah, I only have one. I didn't. The main roster's not interesting.
It's
I'm
not.
sorry. It's not my fault.
No, I've heard it's back in a lull, basically.
Yeah. The only thing I have was Resthold from Raw. There was the main event tag with Rollins and Zayn versus Dom and Priest.
Yep.
They did another one of those Money in the Bank cash-in fake-outs, and I hate it because it's dumb. Like they did this last year a bunch of times with Theory, if you remember.
Yep.
Where it's like they almost cash in, but something happens, so technically they
Correct.
don't cash in. I just think it's lame, and it cheapens the actual moment, and it's just like, then it's when he actually does cash in, like half the surprise and excitement's gone.
Right.
You know, it's just
it's what they do. Put it on a heel and have them fake cash in 1,000
It's so
times.
dumb. I guess it like furthers the Judgment Day stuff, but like you could do that differently. Like you could have them about to cash in. I guess. I don't know. I just don't like when they do that. It's just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
All right. Looking at NXT, you watched a little bit near the beginning, I think, with me.
Did.
I actually liked the opening match. Probably one of JC Jane's best efforts, and I think
I didn't see this. I don't remember.
Lyra Valkyria probably has something to do with it because they had a pretty good 10-minute match to start the show. Lyra looks strong. I think she always does. She won with a top rope splash, which I wish she has cooler stuff in her arsenal, I feel like, than
like
just
top rope.
It does look pretty decent, and I thought Jane made the most of the time she got in control and looked better than she usually does, so I like that. You did see this, and I really liked the Trick and Mello segment where they're sitting down in the locker room, and Trick is basically saying that he now needs to put himself first and do things for him, but he's still ride or die with Mello, but that he needs to go and deal with this Dragunov thing kind of on his own and get out of Mello's shadow. And Mello kind of understands that and is supportive of him. And I thought this was just...
Is it like he's just splitting the deal with Dragunov and he's coming back? Or is it like he's going to
I think it's kind of undefined, right? That he just he needs to get out of Mello's shadow, right? And Mello's like, I get that.
I hope he goes back after, but...
Me too. Know. But I thought this was like a mature, realistic conversation between like two intelligent people.
It's a good way to,
right?
like, if he does end up just doing his own thing after Dragunov, then... It's a good way to do a split without splitting.
And the door's open to do whatever you want. You can have them split, circle back around to it later, whatever you want, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought this was really well done. And to see like a team kind of amicably split is refreshing because it's almost impossible for one not to turn on the other. Or not
like quite amicably, but like at least like with no hard feelings kind of thing.
They're just kind of fine with it. I also... thought there was another good backstage segment where Wes Lee is then later with Mello in the locker room too. And you even thought Wes was doing a good job because he was fired up, right? About losing for the last 3 weeks and losing his title to Dom and all of that. And so Mello's kind of like, I've got the pressure of being a champion in the face of the company. And that I thought that line was interesting. Yeah, I like what
they were both saying.
And he said like he understands why Breakker snapped, right? So to me, that's almost like, there's a crack of the door open for a heel return, right? Because
I like that. That was interesting. Although I hope he doesn't become meaner than evil. That's a little
that's
too far.
Impossible. Then you have Noam Dar and Oro Mensah come in of Metaphor, right? Dar is holding his new Heritage Cup that they made for him because technically he never lost the original one, so he's doing the CM Punk thing basically.
Wait.
Remember?
Okay, yeah.
Mensah defended it and lost it.
I thought you were talking about UK, but I was like,
no.
It's technically. If you really want to go there, I think we should have a third cup. Mark Coffey never lost the cup.
True.
All right?
He can do the same thing. So anyways, words are exchanged. There's a bit of a skirmish, and then they're separated. So I think you agree. I thought Wes Lee sounded good here, and he doesn't always, right?
I like what both of them were saying.
Yeah. And I like that there's also different people interacting backstage, right?
Kind of like what AEW tends to do.
Yeah. Possible foreshadow of a heel turn for Mello, which I'm fine with down the road.
Yeah.
And it's easier for them to do because I think keeping Trick babyface makes the most sense. So if you do want Mello to go back heel, now that he's on his own, it's a bit easier, I think. But anyways.
Yeah.
I also like the Chase U segment, and it's weird because Thea Hale is now like depressed and all sad looking after Chase threw in the towel for her at Great American Bash. So basically Corbin shows up here, and he's just rude to Thea Hale. Tells her that basically she should pack her bags and go home, that not everybody has it sort of thing. And then
says Baron Corbin.
Right. And then before she can sort of defend herself, Andre Chase steps in to defend Hale.
Again.
And it ends up making a match between Corbin and Andre Chase for later in the show. I kind of like this because the Chase U story just keeps chugging along, right? Hale and Hudson aren't thrilled that Chase threw in the towel.
And he's kind of babying her again.
And now, yes, again, he's stepping in to fight a battle for her when she didn't really have a chance to defend herself. So you can kind of see where this is going. And I think they're doing a nice job with the story.
As long as they kind of turn her right. I feel like she could turn heel and it might not work out for her.
I think it's all coming down to what Hudson and Chase are going to do, right? But it's nice to have like a clear mid-card, long-term story.
Yeah.
And even a little bit of comedy element in there, and it's been good. And then later on in the same show, Corbin does defeat Chase with the end of days in a short average match. Just kind of like standard stuff for each of them. But Hale was silent and mopey the entire time. And in that match,
which is like the opposite of her.
Right. And she threw the towel in, but the ref didn't see it, and Baron Corbin threw it back out. So she tried to throw it in on Chase to get him lose there, right?
Interesting.
And you can see that Hudson sort of starts to follow Hale out because she walks away, and like it's sort of he's literally stuck in the middle of this. So I kind of liked it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Resthold, I did not enjoy. Surprise, surprise. Dana Brooke, Kalani Jordan segment again. And Cora Jade. Basically, it's like Cora Jade brought something out in Dana Brooke, and that she saw red when she grabbed that kendo stick and she liked it. And then it was basically like to Jordan, her wisdom is like, I'm paraphrasing, I guess, slightly. Like, gymnastics are great and all, but maybe we should work on wrestling and getting a little
think
right.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I kind of wish Dana Brooke figured that out like 5 years ago, but. So, okay, this was 7 years ago.
It was a cheesy segment. Neither of them sounded really believable.
It's bad.
But less of a focus on the gymnastic background would be fine with me, because honestly, they spend so much time telling us that all of these women are gymnasts, right? Like Jordan and Sol Ruca and Sol Ruca's friend,
Palmer.
Right? That I think
she got taken out. She could have challenged for the title.
It's basically the equivalent, I think, of former football player for the men. Like, they just love it and they can't help but say it, right? Or amateur wrestler. Those are the ones they love.
I think gymnastics are the equivalent of the football players, and I feel like I think MMA people are the amateur wrestlers, because there's not to say that there's not many amateur women's wrestlers and not MMA male wrestlers, which there is, but like I feel like a lot of times with the male wrestlers, the MMA ones like Lesnar, Lashley, and I think even Batista a little, they wrestled and they went to do whatever, then they came back. Yeah. So, it's a little different. I feel like for the women, you have like Rousey and Baszler, and I think even Lola Vice, I think, because she's got like that kind of background too, right? Yeah, I know. And so I feel like they're kind of the amateur wrestling equivalent, because they love to get the MMA wrestlers, right? Yes. Especially obviously if Rousey has the mainstream appeal, but now they've done that multiple times. And then the outside sport equivalent is the gymnastics to football kind of thing.
And honestly, I think sometimes I would prefer it if they don't tell me this person's a gymnast at all, and then I'm impressed by the stuff they're doing, right? Instead of like gymnast. Well, of course they're doing a handspring, whatever.
An auto internal bias, because like I just hate, like, I don't know, it's just annoying when they tout these outside athletes and like they're trying to make them wrestlers, but they're just like forcing it, you know what I mean?
And a lot of the gymnastics stuff leads to no better impact or leverage on anything, and it's just kind of cool. They can do flips. It's great,
like smoke and mirrors kind of thing.
High spot, the aforementioned Lola Vice. So I don't know if I've seen her in ring before.
She's been mostly on Level Up. I think this was like her bring up to NXT kind of deal.
She didn't do a lot, and it was a short match where she and Elektra Lopez defeated Yulisa Leone, and
I've seen them teaming on Level Up, so her and Lopez.
But what Vice did looked I thought pretty good. She had like a spinning back kick to the midsection that looked really fast and crisp. Not quite like Pac levels, obviously, but you know what I mean, approaching.
That would be.
And then her finishing spinning kick, I don't know if it was a Black Mass or something really similar, looked really good too. And she honestly has some charisma. So they didn't ask her to do barely anything, but I thought what she did was well. Mm-hmm. She did well, and I
think MMA is a much cooler background to have going into wrestling. I think it just I just like
more transferable. I think
a lot better. Yeah.
And Feroz and Leon looked good to start, but sometimes I like them, but I feel like they're going a little bit too fast, and sometimes things get sloppy. But they fly around, and Leon throws Feroz a lot onto people and stuff. Their stuff's cool. And they feel like an actual tag team, right? Because they've been together a while, so it's nice. They're sort of like replacing Catanzaro.
I was about to say they don't
really
really have a name, but they've been teaming a while, so it's like
sorry, Katana Chance and Carter.
Yeah, I think that's part of the thing with all the random teams. Like these two are kind of randomly paired together, and I think Catanzaro or Chance or whatever and Carter were kind of the same, but they team long enough to become a team. The thing with the women's tag division, most of the time, is they randomly team and then they don't last long.
And
it's mostly like randomly teaming.
Chance and Carter and Leon and Froys also have like tandem offense they do. Right. That also makes them feel like a team.
Yeah. That isn't like either, because I feel like then the random teams either they don't have offense or they have extremely basic ones that like any two people on a team would do
double
together.
Shoulder tackle.
Yeah, that's right. Like anything you would do even if you team with this person for the first time.
Yes,
and you don't like them.
I also liked Tiffany Stratton. It was just like an Instagram promo thing, and it's actually while she's putting on makeup, but I liked it. Nothing really specific, just kind of like, I don't know what I'll do next sort of thing. Short, really on brand for her, and just a cool idea to incorporate what young people, well, most people other than me, are looking at all the time, which is social media, right? So fine. I don't enjoy that the Gallus and family stuff is still continuing. So the show started with Tony and Stax getting attacked in the parking lot by Gallus to start the show. Then they were in another short segment with the doctor checking on them and them talking about how they're going to get a mystery third partner to take on Gallus, right? So that was the in-show mystery, I guess. And I just don't really have a lot of interest in this story anymore. I was hoping the match at Great American Bash was ending it, but apparently not.
You thought wrong, sir.
I actually put it in as a rest hold. The match between Carmelo Hayes, Wes Lee, and Oro Mensah and Noam Dar. Mensah seemed to have issues with both Lee and Hayes. Like there was just looking a little bit lost or confused, and then right at the finish he botched something to the point he couldn't quite see it, but the crowd was chanting "You effed up." Even something just seemed off. The match was, I guess, okay. I did enjoy the Noam Dar Carmelo Hayes interactions, and I'm hoping we get something out of that. But the rest, I didn't really love it.
I don't.
But we did get a darker Wes Lee here. He was sort of not doing some of his babyface-ish offense a little bit.
I don't think he'd work as a heel, but like, you could give him an edge, I guess.
And I think that's what they're going for.
I would like Dar in a top title feud. I don't know if like
he won't win.
No,
obviously, but he can be one of those like placeholder.
The issue to me, it's not dumb because he's always been like
Noam,
cruiserweight or mid card, so it's like
he's small, man.
Well, yeah, and that's like I don't want to be like that because I love Noam Dar, but that's and I don't care.
But we're realistic. Know what I mean? We know how things run.
Just I don't know. I would like to see him. I feel like he could work. It's just like not size doesn't really matter, but he is pretty small and he's just
shouldn't matter.
I've never seen him in the top, so maybe we just need to. I think he challenged Walter once, but I don't think it was challenged or treated seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would like to see him in the top title feud. It's just like imagining it's a little weird right now.
I agree.
Is all I'm trying to say.
I told you this made me laugh. Dom Mysterio can't tell masked wrestlers apart, so I think it was last week Dragon Lee talked to him,
and then I think it was at Bash he talked to him.
And then this week it was Axiom, and he basically Dom thinks they're the same person, and I just thought it was really funny.
I think Ripley called him Batman, and then she called Axiom Power Ranger.
And then as Axiom and Dom are finishing their interaction, Mustafa Ali, I think it's this idea that he's constantly jumping the line, right? So he literally cuts in front of Axiom, and then he goes off on Axiom a little bit, and it seems like we'll get a match between those two with Axiom and Ali, which would be cool.
That would be cool. So that's my 2K feud. I randomly put them together once, and I had like a banger randomly, or by 2K standards.
Yep.
And I just put them together like a million times now.
And Ali continues to sort of like straddle the baby face, like, you know he's a heel, but he's not fully behaving like one kind of thing. And I kind of find it interesting. And the fact that...
I'm glad he's doing stuff, though.
And the fact that any sort of heel stuff isn't based on, hey, you're evil foreigner, right? Like, have him be a heel for some other reason, right? Something a little more subtle.
I'm glad he's just, like, getting on TV and doing stuff, though. Me too. That's more you can say
I'm really happy with him coming to NXT. He's the type of guy that he can go in the ring and he's never going to get a shot.
He'll fit in with them, right?
Yep. So. I did like the Roxanne Perez package we got this week. It was basically footage from the week leading up to the Bash, mostly. So it was like meeting her family. She went to DreamCon and did some stuff. She got advice from Booker T. And then it's kind of, they cut to stuff post-match where she's not sorry for what she did to Davenport and that you can never break Roxanne Perez. And I thought it was cool and it felt realistic, like showing her family and all that, right? And adds a little depth to, and this is the stuff I want Sheeta, right? We were just talking about. this is like a 2 or 3 minute segment that just adds
which they
context
could totally do.
and some details. Right, it's not
Give her
hard.
some decent matches too, please.
Did not enjoy the Schism segment.
What?
That's not true. I actually thought the Creeds were kind of funny. So it was basically
what?
Schism brings all of their little, or not all of them, like 5 or 6 of their followers in the ring to unmask them, right? And they unmask one and it's not a Creed. They unmask another one, it's not a Creed. They tell one guy, because it's clearly Quincy whatever, so it's like this humongous black guy, so they're like, you don't even need to, you can just go. Like, you're clearly not a Creed. And then so there's 2 guys left and they match about the size of the Creeds, and even one of them's wearing like the kind of sports socks that Brutus wears a lot. So anyways, of course, they rip the mask off, or did they just start beating them up? I think they just started attacking them, and it turns out it's not them.
Yeah.
And then the Creeds kind of pop up on the Tron, clearly in front of a green screen, like with a beach view behind them, and they're in chairs all oiled up and like drinking like vacation drink sort of thing, and saying like they've been to all of these places, but then they can't get their story straight on something. But they're like, but regardless, wherever we've been, we definitely haven't been at the Performance Center, right? We definitely weren't at the Bash or whatever. So it's kind of cheesy, but they're doing, because they're kind of awkward, and I actually thought they were kind of funny here. So I didn't hate the whole thing, but I didn't love. I'm just, Schism is not great right now. But anyways, Resthold, another one. Cora Jade leaves NXT and does some terrible acting on the way out. She lost to Dana Brooke, so she's done. I agree. That is reason to leave, for sure.
That's true. You got to be rethinking life after you lost to Dana Brooke.
But she's just doing really bad acting, and then she picks up her fan mail from like her locker or whatever, and then throws it, because who cares about the fans, and she's such a rebel, right? So really weak stuff here. And then
she's not like most girls.
So I didn't put Highspot or Restholds, so I'm wondering what I thought. I don't remember. But Gallus versus the family and the mystery partner. The mystery partner was Santos Escobar, because of all the history with the family. The crowd reaction was really good, and they explained that union as mutual respect after a long history.
Sure.
So I don't know. I didn't love it because it just didn't feel fresh, other than Escobar, right? Which was fine, but a decent match. Just felt like we just watched this, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be much different, right?
And then they went back to, and I liked it, they did a segment kind of after the logo again. Like, you thought that was done with the Escobar match, and the little bug for NXT came up, and then it was Dragunov, super close into his red eyes, really quick, intense, and that he's coming after Trick, like something like, you think you're not done with me, I'm not done with you, blah, blah, blah. Because Trick cost him the NXT championship, so that was how it ended.
That is true, he did do that.
Yeah. Quickly looking at Impact, I did watch it. I'm going to say it, right? Resthold is Trinity. I've been noticing something, and I'm finally ready to say it. I don't think she's good in the ring. I think she wears bright gear, has really bright hair, brings a lot of energy.
Those are all things
and dancing. Yes. But almost her entire in-ring repertoire is basic stuff with extra flash on the delivery that does nothing to add any effectiveness. Mm-hmm. Like, she's going to slide past you and then do a really weak, like, donkey kick. A leg drop with extra splash because it's basically the splits or whatever, but it makes no difference. Using your butt repeatedly on offense when none of it really looks painful, right? So just
baby.
Sports entertainment for sure. And I don't like, and it's weird because she's clearly super athletic, right? I just think that WWE was like, you don't need to learn a lot, just learn some stuff. And
I don't think she was ever like amazing, but I didn't think as bad of her in WWE, because I think it's a lower bar.
And she's a draw, and people like her, but her identity is sports entertainment to me, and I'm not loving her in-ring work. So anyway, she got a really long opening segment, interrupted by Purrazzo, then the Coven, and that led to an immediate match. The match itself was fine. Trinity accidentally kicked Purrazzo, and King then hit the King's Curse and pinned Purrazzo for the win, so it was miscommunication. I forget. I just wrote it down because they said it. What was it? I don't know. I think Kylan King's good. I say it all the time. And Coven are my description, a very visible entity. Like, they're involved in a lot of stuff, it seems. Resthold, the Rascals talking. They talk about this tag team tournament and how they'll win. Scott D'Amore comes in and fines them for whatever they did last week and threatens to suspend them if they interfere anymore. And they're just too old to be doing this for me. They're behaving like obnoxious teenagers or like tweens.
Gotta love that.
They've regressed to the same gimmick from years ago, and they're just like significantly older, so it's not working for me. It just aggravates me, and not in a
even
way.
Back then, it wouldn't be the best thing.
It aggravates me in a way it's not supposed to, I'd say. But they're good in the ring, so whatever. I did not like an interaction between Alyssa and Jody Threat backstage. Alicia is basically a bully. Jody doesn't like it. They're going to have a match next week. Neither of them sounded good. It's not a match I want to see. I want to love Jody Threat, but I haven't loved her Impact. Even though she's an indie darling up here. I haven't loved what she's been doing.
She's decent, but like...
Yeah. Resthold. I like how some of my Restholds are just people this week. I was not impressed. The first hour Impact annoyed me. Heath. So he took...
That's a good turn.
He took on Alan Angels, and because Angels referred to himself as a rock star, and Heath took exception to this, apparently, I guess.
That's your setup,
That's
really?
it, buddy.
That's like, I swear the one feud in 2001 was like, Jericho accidentally spilled coffee on Kane or something.
Cool, it's not about coffee. Yes, that was a big feud. Angels targets Heath's leg the whole time, but Heath perseveres and wins with the wake-up call. So I'm just out on Heath in general. I think he's boring and bland and still does the same signature stuff he's always done.
He was good with the Rhino shtick in like 2016. That was probably the peak of his career.
Stuff. It was 100%. Yeah. He still lives off that line sometimes. He's got kids. But I thought this was weird because Angels has recently gone out on his own and sort of is trying to gain traction as a singles wrestler and kind of a new character. And here comes Heath with nothing behind him and picks up a win pretty quickly. So I just don't see value in Heath, and I thought they were trying something with Angels, so I didn't like this. You, I think, saw this. I thought this was ridiculous when they explained the big explanation of how EY is back. Oh, yeah, and not
that
murdered.
Was so dumb. Ugh.
So basically, he didn't die, was the explanation. That wrestling is a crazy world, and fans assumed he was murdered.
He barely survived.
But we're going to see what happened later tonight. So, it's not even the explanation yet. It's them just teasing it, so I won't even get into it.
Okay.
But yes, to remind you, we actually watched him basically get murdered by Diener. So Jake something squashed the jobber. I thought it was a good idea, right? They're building him as a powerhouse. Quick win. He hit the void for the win, and the crowd seems behind him. Resthold Bully Ray for me, because Leo Rush is... I like Leo Rush. He's coming in, right, as a lone wolf. But now he's put in a segment with Bully Ray, and he comes away looking worse, I thought, that being Leo Rush. It's Bully, Moose, and Myers. They're trying to recruit Leo, but Leo's basically sticking to this, I'm not an Impact to make any friends. But Bully goes on this rant and gets the final word, and a lot of them. And I didn't like it left Leo in contemplation. Like, if he had fired back at Bully Ray and held strong, then fine. But it came across like, this is a big star in the company telling you need to fall in line, and Leo just kind of sat there thinking about it, which I didn't like. I wanted to be like, screw you, right? Like, I'm not here to take any side. Right. But anyways, I thought the triple threat for the digital championship, digital media championship was good. As Kenny King, he successfully retained. He hit the royal flush to Yuya Uemura. Sheldon Jean had pulled Joe Henry out of the ring after...
I have not been pronouncing his name right.
Henry hit a cutter. Started out slow, final few minutes were good. Story seems to be that Henry let his friend Uemura in the match, and it kind of cost him, backfired on him. So he's like, I'm so nice, I'm going to let my friend in the match.
Interesting.
I think it's the reformation, right? Because they were a tag team before briefly, Gresham and Bailey.
Yeah, well, I think they teamed a lot of random matches. And I think one of them might have been the lead up to one of their matches because they also had a bunch of matches.
They did, and they were all awesome. So they are teamed up for this little tournament they're doing, and I liked it because it's like they're the odd couple, right? So Gresham is still on this. I'm mad about Impact's lack of rule enforcement and rules, and if it weren't for people cheating, I'd win all the time kind of thing. And Bailey's the positive one, right, saying that he's trying to talk Gresham into forming this team and that they should be talented enough to beat other teams even if there is cheating. So this whole like pessimist optimist combination I really like, and they're both awesome in the ring.
That's not a bad odd couple thing.
I like it. And so I'm hoping they stay together because the results of this match didn't go well. But
it's weird when the furnace drops running and it just sounds so much louder. It happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, it does. And I've got the mic set up so it's not picking up that furnace. I don't think it's not picking up the rumble.
I'm commenting on weird things then.
Kushida made me laugh by saying one word. So basically, we're getting Alexander, the Machine Guns, and Kushida right at Emergence. So this was Time Machine without Alexander. And Saban's talking about how after emergence, he's going to focus on becoming a 10-time X Division champion.
10 times.
And Kushida is standing beside him, and he still has the big X on a chain around his neck. And he just looks at Saban and goes, maybe. And I thought that was like the way he did it was great. I loved it. Surprisingly, didn't enjoy a Death Doll segment. I know that's shocking to all my regular listeners
Blasphemy.
here. So they want to go to. So they're. This is so stupid. They're by themselves, right? And they're gonna go ask Scott D'Amore for a match because they're not on Emergence, and they need to strategize first.
Oh, so we're going then.
So even though they're all alone, they do like the little side huddle to talk about their strategy, even though there's no one else there. But anyways,
okay, no, I know what you're talking about now.
Crazy Steve does show up, but they're too busy to talk to him. So this is that Impact has this ability to hit a tone in stuff that I just can't stand it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And this is that tone. So I don't like it. I did like the main event. It was Rascals taking on Bailey and Gresham in the first round of that tournament. And early on, Gresham was just tying Wentz in knots, and it looked awesome. And I like this match because any time that the Rascals got control, it's because of a cheap shot or some sort of cheating, which is exactly what Gresham has a problem with, right? So like Trey Miguel cheap shot when he's not the legal man gets the Rascals in control. And then you basically have a distraction by Wentz on the apron that gets Trey to suplex Bailey, and the heels are in control again. So you get, where's the finish here? What did I put? Gresham's dominating Trey. Wentz gets involved again, throws a can of spray paint to Trey. Bailey hits his moonsault to the floor on Wentz, and then Trey sprays Gresham in the face and rolls him up for the win.
Outcast.
Easily the best thing on this show. Really weak first hour, though. Really good action in this match, as you would expect. With the match kind of validating Gresham's complaints, right? So they can go with that story if they want, because it was all Rascals cheating and shortcuts to take this match. And I just hope Gresham and Bailey stay together because I really enjoy them. And if they don't have anything for them as singles guys, right? Tag team.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing was they ended this show with the big explanation of how EY didn't die.
That's how they ended the show?
Yep. And basically it was Eric Young just didn't die that way. That's it. It just didn't happen. He just didn't die. So this was super cinematic, right? Because they're obviously going back to it. And basically, Diener must have dragged him somewhere and left him for dead because he was outside, right? And he stabbed him in like the prison cell with a shiv.
I guess.
So it's bloody Eric Young.
I was watching it. I was trying to pay attention, but I still don't really know.
He just kind of gets up. He's all bloody, gets on his motorbike and drives away after being murdered.
Yeah, I was so confused. Like he just got up on a motorbike and just went away. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, so and it basically and then he spouts a bunch of like death mumbo jumbo, like a man can be killed but an idea can live forever, and that he's an idea, and like this is the best they could do, I guess. They took the laziest possible solution, right? Which was I just didn't die. And like
I love that.
And like dressed it up really like high budget production, looked really slick, but was absolutely meaningless. Like how he didn't die was he didn't die.
It just didn't happen.
Just didn't die.
Nope.
So it was
I know what you're laughing about. You just didn't die.
And actually, I'm going over to my best and worst because I have also a list of like just things I've liked and didn't like.
Well, do you make a note of the Swerve box thing?
I did.
Okay, so then
Do you want to see my list?
Sure.
I'll read it to you because we got a nice short
Go
podcast going here. So MJF Danielson feud.
Good.
Even just for TV matches, it got for several weeks, right? It got us Takeshita, Cage, Thatcher, Rush.
Oh yeah, Thatcher.
Right?
Roosh.
Yes.
Did you act? Wow.
Samoa Joe Darby Allin feud got us 3 matches, 2 of which were fantastic. No holds barred match that main events in February Dynamite was a violent masterpiece.
I'm glad you know this because I always forget to note feuds. I'll remember once you mention it. But
Danielson promo after Revolution shown on Dynamite about MJF being right
awesome.
and Danielson going home. Pillars together on Dynamite 2 weeks after Revolution.
Did you do the Rebar Mitzvah, right?
Is that I don't have it on.
That was the first one. You should maybe write Rebar Mitzvah.
MJF Cole storyline.
That's awesome. Obviously, that might win.
Blackpool Elite storyline.
Obviously, that one's awesome.
Mitzvah. There you go. Yeah. Swerve AR Fox going to Nick Wayne's training. Eric Young just won't die. is the most recent. Because it's a list of like stuff I liked and didn't like. So that's enough to remind me.
I love that it's phrased as Eric Young just won't die.
Yeah, he won't die.
That's perfect.
Can't kill him. So that was that for me. You said like SmackDown just happened a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
so
and there really wasn't anything. And I did look. There wasn't really anything interesting. Like, Bloodline stuff is good, but there's nothing like notable really. I thought.
All right. So the final thing we'll go into, because you said there's no updates for figures, is we're going to do.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go with figures for a second. I was like, what are you doing?
Our preview and predictions for tomorrow's. I don't know if we figured out if it's Saturday or Sunday yet.
It's Saturday, so I guess
today.
Tonight. Oh well, it is Saturday.
After midnight.
Okay, so all right.
So
today's SummerSlam.
Make our predictions for tonight's WWE PLE SummerSlam. All right, I put some thought into this one. I actually did.
I
actually looked at the card and
I was gonna but then I did.
And I'm gonna take one that might be a little out there, but
you picking Jay?
No, not that out there. So what do we got?
Oh, you spoiled your pick. Starting off, I'm gonna go with Ricochet versus the Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
I took Logan Paul because there's no way they would put Ricochet over anybody. I love the guy, but
and especially not Logan Paul.
Especially not Logan Paul. He's lucky. Like Ricochet's lucky to even get the spot on the card.
It's like they selected a guy that Logan Paul is definitely going to beat, that they can do cool athletic stuff and have a couple.
Because he keeps losing. Actually, he lost to Roman and he lost to Seth.
So a couple spots that they can highlight and use in promotional stuff will come out of this, and Logan Paul will win
unless they botch it again.
Right, but I mean, it still worked. It wasn't what they wanted, and it looked super dangerous, but it worked. Mission failed successfully. It was one of those kind of deals.
Sure.
Yeah.
Next we got Gunther versus McIntyre for the Intercontinental title. I went with Gunther because I think McIntyre winning the title would be cool, and I think he's a good pick to beat Gunther, but I don't think the timing's right. They can easily stretch this out a couple of months because they love to stretch feuds way too long.
They do.
So they can easily do it. They can have a few matches, or we just take a pause and revisit it like at the Rumble or something.
This feels like a combination they're fine doing more than one to me.
I feel like it's a combination I would be probably okay with.
I think this is the match I most want to see.
Yeah. I would agree, either that or Roman J, because they did have good stuff back
and
in the
I
day.
am also taking Gunther. I just same thing. It doesn't feel like
the important thing is him breaking the run, right? And like to have him come so close to lose it would be stupid.
And Drew just getting back, that he needs to establish a little bit at least. He can't be beating Gunther yet, I don't think. So I agree.
Baszler Rousey in the non-fight pit.
Has to be Baszler, right? Because
has to be Baszler.
By all accounts, Rousey is out out soon.
Yeah, Rousey's on her way out, and Baszler needs to get her due. All right,
I think that's the whole point of this. So
it's about goddamn time.
I don't want to see this really because I don't know.
I want to see Baszler wreck some fools.
Love Baszler, but have no desire to see Rousey do anything. But
I'm a Baszler ride or die.
Yeah, maybe this will be okay.
I'm never gonna stop.
But it's
until it happens.
It's Baszler. I'm taking.
It is. Next we get the Slim Jim Battle Royal.
I didn't put any thought into this one.
Not as good as my ideas. I put a lot more thought into them. I wouldn't bother looking at the field because I've only heard that LA Knight and Sheamus are in it. I'm just gonna take LA Knight because he's one of the only two.
4 hours ago, basically when we started.
He's one of the only. He's one of the only two I know in there, and it seems like they would just throw him a bone because they don't want to give him a title.
Well, let me tell you. I can tell you some more names that are in there.
Let me talk to you.
So we don't have the total 25, but here are a few.
Okay.
From Cage Side Seats.
Mm-hmm.
Sheamus.
Yep.
The next one's gonna change your pick. So start.
Okay. I take it back.
So to highlight it and poise your finger over the letter K because Karrion Kross is in it.
Okay, Karrion Kross. Oh, I wrote that in your box.
Grayson Waller, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, The Miz.
I'll say this for a meaningless battle royal. If that's the real lineup, that's surprisingly decent because usually they would just shove this full of the mid card. That's surprisingly okay.
And this isn't for anything?
Not that I know of.
There's no anything.
Maybe free Slim Jims.
And you're taking Knight?
Yeah.
I mean,
like it just seems like some meaningless thing they give him just to give him.
I want to do something different though. I'll take Escobar then, just cause why not?
He's already facing Theory for the U.S. title, so I doubt it.
Hey. You can't apply logic to this.
Okay. Speaking of applying logic, Asuka, Belair, Charlotte. Do your thing.
I might actually.
What? do Charlotte.
I might. I'm trying to think.
I can see any three of them winning here a decent amount, but I'm gonna have hope that they put some effort into Asuka's run and not short circuit it. So I'm gonna take Asuka.
I think they think the money is in Belair chasing a heel.
Well, Asuka's a heel.
I know.
I'm going Asuka. It's not the smartest pick, but
I'll take Charlotte. I don't know. That's my rule, right?
I know.
Pick Charlotte, pick Roman, and you're pretty much playing the odds for sure. All right, I'm taking her.
Next, we got Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar in a disappointingly no stipulation match. They couldn't even give us a Weapons Wild match.
I think this has to be Cody Rhodes.
I think it has to be Cody.
Or else it kind of derails his story.
You can finish the story? Nah, it's getting derailed.
Yeah.
I think he's got to win, and you can warm him up for Roman round 2.
And Brock doesn't need wins, right? He's a threat anytime, anywhere. Yeah.
Brock will be fine. Rollins Balor 2, or actually Rollins Balor 17. I don't know. For the World Heavyweight title. I took Rollins because some Judgment Day nonsense can cost Balor. We can move into that storyline. Maybe Priest Caston, maybe he doesn't. But Rollins probably wins. I'd love to get Balor a run, but I feel like we have other things at play right now, and Balor can get a title run later because I think Balor deserves a run.
This is my one. I'm taking Balor.
Really? Okay.
I just think there's a lot of attention on Judgment Day right now. It creates the dynamic of him having it and Priest having the case. And I think it's SummerSlam, and they need something to change hands, and I don't think anything else is.
That's true.
And like they need to have.
There's a chance about the other belt.
I guess, but I don't think so. So I think this is the one where they make a change.
I don't know.
I'm not super confident.
I feel like Rollins still has some in the tank.
So do I. I'm not confident. I'm just think like otherwise it's going to be like a status quo pay-per-view, and I don't think they want that. So.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll take Balor.
And
I'm not super confident.
Judgment Day's loaded.
It's a bit of a limb on this one.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It is.
And then it's Roman Reigns.
I could have taken a chance on the.
You could, because I took a chance on a couple.
Yeah. Well, I took a chance with Asuka though. That's a risky.
It's not happening until Mania. Let's be real. He's not Roman.
Yeah. So I want to pick Jay. I think it would be a really cool full circle moment. I think he has a decent chance of winning at least.
I don't.
I don't think it's at all locked though. I think whether it's Vince or Triple H, I don't think that matters. I could see them being hesitant about putting their main title on Jay. Respect where it's due for tag teams, but he's a tag team guy, and he hasn't proven himself on his own other than that 2020 feud with Roman, which was great. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of that just works because they're family and because Roman's great. I think Jay hasn't really proven himself on his own other than that. Really, he won the Andre Battle Royal, but who gives a crap?
Right, nobody.
I think they may think it's risky, and understandably so. So I'd be okay with being wrong here, but I'm safely picking Roman to retain because I thought Cody was a lock for sure, but he didn't win, and Jay is less of a lock than Cody, I thought. So I'm gonna take Roman as well.
I'd love to be surprised, but I don't. Yeah. I don't think. They think Jay is.
Yeah, I'd like for him to.
The guy to do it.
I'm not confident enough in him,
and I don't think it ends till WrestleMania with Cody. So.
Yep.
Which they should have done already, but they didn't. So I think it's Roman.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for episode 159. We just went over 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's approaching, well, it's 12:30 a.m. on August 5th.
On the dot.
So this will be published in about 12 hours. So we hope you're all doing well. We thank you for spending any time with us as we yammer on about wrestling for almost 3 hours. We look forward to you returning. We do promise we'll get our NXT train rolling at some point. Don't know when. There. But again, it's all free content, so enjoy it when and if it arrives. We hope to see you back here for episode 160 next week. And until then, everybody, take care.